Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. That's a good voice crack right there. Forgive me. That made me laugh. I couldn't get through it. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. I'm Jeff, and my voice just went AWOL. That's Tom. On Twitter, it's at J Cameron Show, the WTSM app for your mobile devices, and we're on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. Hello, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Good afternoon. There you go. A little bit better. I couldn't reach down deep and find it. You can email the show, jcs@979espnradio.com, and we'll post all 3 hours upon the conclusion of the program, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault on the webpage. God, it's a rocky start to a Ballsmick Wednesday. It's been a rocky week. It's been very strange, right? And now there's evidence like it was, well, we're not sure. Maybe. No, it's not. Now there's actual, documentation. There's a storm coming. It's not evidence, really.
What's all these theories out there?
This thought about a storm.
Mumbo jumbo about a storm in the water.
Storm in the water. Where did you get this from? Are you talking about the Illuminati? No, so it's there is a storm. It's not up for debate. And apparently it's on its way here, and that's not good.
Show me proof, not government reports.
You probably think planes hit the Twin Towers on 9/11, don't you? So this storm is coming, and that's not good. And I wonder, I guess, at this point, all that's left to do is wonder, do they move the game up? No talk of that just yet. I think some of you are concerned about it. You've sent emails wondering aloud whether or not now is this game going to be canceled too. I don't think so. And we have our trepid reporter on the scene elsewhere. He's Tom's friend from college.
Intrepid man, Kevin Roth.
Yeah.
Well, you have to earn the in part, the prefix in.
Yeah. Well, is he? Is he on it? Have we gotten
I haven't gotten a response yet. No, he keeps odd hours because he has to do early morning work in Dallas. I think he's on that 4 a.m. show out in Dallas. Mm-hmm. So he does that. Then he has to do daily fantasy reports. So that's slowed down with baseball.
I love that our weather guy is also doing daily fantasy reports. It's very important that he has his. That's why he's our weather guy.
That's right.
Yeah, because he likes to gamble.
For daily fantasy.
I mean, I said that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he likes to tell people what they need to know if they do want to gamble. So, well, listen, what he'll do is he'll rate, like on a color scale, kind of like the warning system, the warning system from the past. Mm-hmm. About
anytime anything went wrong, let's crack that baby up to orange.
Sure, and I get the regular season of baseball is over, but like what parks and what weather conditions are perfect, ideal for home runs and fly ball rates.
You need to know these things, especially if you're gambling on fantasy sports.
Yeah, so that's what he does in addition to doing one of those variety morning shows where you have to do the cheesy stuff.
Hey, Bob.
He does that so well, though. He really does, yeah.
He does the hey, Bob well? That's key.
Well, no, the glad handing and stuff.
Yeah. Good to see you, Bob.
It's like for every 10 guests you get one Stone Cold Steve Austin. You just have to hang on the fact that you get to talk to Stone Cold.
Soon enough, we're going to get Stone Cold in here, and it will make my life all right. In the interim, I'll talk to Beth. So, Beth.
How you doing, Kevin? Pleasure to meet you.
Florida State, we do suppose, will line up against Miami on Saturday, and it's at this point that we're all kind of wringing the hands a little bit about that. Ordinarily, this would be cause all throughout the week to celebrate Florida State's dominance of Miami, where they have won 7 consecutive times. In fact, Tom, if you want to queue up a couple of agains, you can. You can find any number of montages we've done at Miami's expense. We could break out peanut butter jelly time with the best of them one more time while it's still in us, while we still maintain this dominance over Miami that is bordering on a decade's worth of kicking ass.
Didn't we tease that we were going to do the Miami montage about a month ago or 2 months ago? Somebody asked for it, and we said we could play it.
People asked for the Miami montage on a daily basis?
Well, they do, but, I think we teased it actually one day during the show that we would play it before the showtime was over, and then we didn't do it.
You want to do it?
We can.
Play it.
It's 4 minutes in length. You want to do it?
Is it the again
It's
And
got
again.
It's got that in Groundhog Day, the legacy of greatness, and all that stuff. We can
I
save
didn't
it.
think I'd come out didn't think we'd come out swinging here on a little, but we haven't done it, and it's been largely a disappointing week already. Here we are on Wednesday, and we spent more time discussing the problems we had against Wake Forest, the frustrations of the loss to NC State, and any number of other problems that seem to plague this team right now, and we haven't really focused on and or celebrated the greatness of 7 straight wins over Miami. And until they vanquish us and end this streak, it is maintained. And on a Wednesday, why not celebrate that? Let's wrap our arms around this and celebrate a little bit.
Ravaged again and again and again. Again and again and again.
I'm reliving the same day over and over.
When you carry this U on your chest, know what you carry, man. You carry a legacy.
I got you, babe.
A legacy of greatness.
I got you, babe.
Ponder fires it, don't got a man. Caught in the end zone. Touchdown, Rodney Smith.
I'm reliving the same day over and over.
It is my distinct honor to welcome our new head football coach at the U,
I got you, babe.
Coach Al Golden.
I got
Harris throws a wobbler. Oh, my goodness. Bird got laid out. Nigel Bradham.
To me, you should penalize the quarterback.
I'm reliving the same day over and over.
We've done a lot of these games, but it feels different, definitely this time around.
I got you, babe.
And here's Freeman on the cutback. Reaches for the touchdown. And it is uphill from here on in for Miami.
I'm reliving the same day over and over.
Miami has hungered for this, the winning track record. This could be the year.
I got you, babe.
Here's a handoff now, and Freeman going for touchdown number 3. Big night for the young man from Miami Central.
I'm reliving the same day over and over.
When you carry this U on your chest, know what you carry, man. You carry a legacy.
I got you, babe.
A legacy of greatness.
I got you, babe.
The game on the line on 4th and 9. Kaya steps up, delivers over the middle, intercepted by who else but Jalen Ramsey. And the Noles streak is going to stretch to 26 in a row.
I'm reliving the same day over and over.
This feels like the old days. Late pitch to Cook, who's got the edge. Dalvin Cook's off and running. Hamstring looks just fine.
I need help.
We're building champions at the U. Today, we are a great deal closer to our goal.
I got you, babe.
Please join me in welcoming Mark Recht.
I got
The backdrop has shifted. Don't you feel it?
Yeah.
Miami, no more moral victories. That won't cut it anymore.
I got you, babe.
Well, you got to love this. Mark Richt, first-year head coach, school that he played, back from being so successful at Georgia in the SEC. Crunch time in his first Miami-Florida State game as a head coach of the Canes, and it's coming down to this.
4th and 5, here it comes. Last gasp, perhaps, for the Canes. Kaya for the end zone. Coley, touchdown!
But it feels different, definitely this time around.
Legacy of greatness.
Like the old days.
Miami has hungered for this.
We're building champions at the U. Today, we are a great deal closer to our goal.
What a throw by Kaya on 4th down. It's blocked! No good! The Noles block the PAT, and Badgley's streak ends at 72 in a row.
I'm reliving the same day over and over.
Ravaged again and again and again. Again and again and again and again.
And that's what we came up with after 7. Now, if we reach 8, I'll see you Sunday morning, Tom.
Oh,
we will
man.
begin the process of building a 10-minute montage of greatness or an 8-minute montage of greatness.
8 minutes. We'll leave a legacy.
Yes, that's
a legacy of greatness.
8 minutes. We will do it. Let's do an 8-minute montage if we win on Saturday. Well, come on now. It's not just yet another victory over Miami. I mean, that's happened 7 times in a row. This would be a special sort of victory over Miami. Lost in the wilderness, confused, desperate, sad, bewildered, angry, and yet still find a way to win an 8th in a row while they're just cruising right along, sure that this is their time. That would require, I think, a good 8-minute montage.
The funny thing is,
you almost need 8 minutes, Tom, just to get through all the agains.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that takes up a good chunk.
Yeah. I mean, you have to leave it with the score behind it, too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
In 14, you thought, wow, this is really some sort of devious way to rip their souls out of their chest. 15, you outdid yourself. Last year, you really outdid yourself. They controlled the flow of the game. And then they scored. I mean, in overtime, they probably would have felt pretty good in that building.
Maybe.
But there was no overtime.
No, they didn't get to overtime.
No, there was
Nope,
none.
the kick was blocked.
Yeah, sure was.
Much to Chris Fowler's dismay.
Oh, God.
Don't you love that? That's still one of my favorite aspects. He's devastated. Fowler's like, well, damn it, man.
In 14 especially. In 14, when Ramsey picks off the pass, he is just...
He's like, well, this is ridiculous.
And the Notre Dame game really hurt him, too, that year. Because he said in the beginning, you can sense the defiance in the crowd. That was when he did, his whole diatribe
about
game
ESPN.
day.
Yeah. I remember that.
We don't hate you.
Yeah.
Love me, please.
This is what you've done to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, this is true. But this is like the old game, the old days, and Little Havana when he said that, the whole thing. You're going, really, Chris? My goodness. I mean, a guy could not have wanted a team to win more.
Yeah.
Than he did on that night.
Well, came up short again. I wonder, is he calling this week? I don't think he is. He's probably calling Michigan State, right?
Well, it's a 3:30 game, so it's,
14, they called our 3:30 kick with Florida.
We just didn't do our part, is what I'm telling you. Had we, won a game and looked decent in doing so, at least against Wake prior, maybe. No, they had already decided after the NC State loss.
Well, if Miami did get the job done and he wasn't calling it, he would be devastated.
So you're going to try to take solace in that, right?
Well, if it happened, he'd be in his trailer. Chris, please, you have to come out. I didn't call the game.
I've waited nearly a decade for my chance to call Miami's win over Florida State, and you did this to me. I've got lousy-ass Michigan State, Michigan. Nobody cares about either one of those two sorry-ass Big Ten teams. And now this.
We'll have to look up and make sure he didn't get a special arrangement for this game. Otherwise, yeah, he might be crying on Fallica's shoulder. Let me your shoulder, Bear. I need you, Bear.
Stop it. Now I'm going to be grossed out. We're moving on. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra E-Max 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia. Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin, Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Customers constantly tell us that they're getting several estimates to compare apples to apples. You ever bite into an apple and find out the inside is rotten? Cheap roofing quotes are just like that rotten apple. Quote looks shiny and delicious because it's the cheapest, right? But you wind up with that rotten apple that leaks or starts to fail immediately. All roofing quotes are not equal. Cheap estimates equal cheap materials, subpar labor, or both. For quality that lasts, call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Proof Brewing Company is Tallahassee's first and largest production craft brewery since 2012. They are locally owned and operated inside Railroad Square Art Park. Visit Proof's expansive brewery, outdoor beer garden, and tasting room with live music on Friday evenings. Proof Brewing Company's award-winning beers 850 and Mango Wit are now available in 6-pack cans. Follow Proof Brewing Company on Facebook or visit online at proofbrewingco.com for more info. Proof Brewing Company reminds you to please drink responsibly.
Can't decide between fresh steak, seafood, or wings? Well, Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway has it all. From center-cut sirloin and original pastas to fresh salads and favorites like Miller's Signature Zingers, tossed in your favorite sauce. Miller's Ale House has a full-service bar featuring more than 75 beers, plus wine and liquors. Bring the family to watch the big game inside or on their covered patio on one of over 60 HD TVs. However you come to relax, you will have a good time and great food at Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway.
College football programs know the importance of recruiting. If they want to compete at the highest level, they need to bring on the best talent, people who have the skills and drive to be a success. The same is true in business. Recruiting is vital. And with ZipRecruiter, you'll have a smarter and simpler way to assemble your own winning team. With just one click, you can post your job to over 100 job boards. Then ZipRecruiter's matching technology identifies relevant talent fast. 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within 24 hours. And your ZipRecruiter dashboard helps keep everything in one place, so it's easy to review and rank the candidates with the best experience. You'll be building a powerhouse program in no time. Choose the smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter, official hiring partner of the Florida State Seminoles.
For your free trial, go to ZipRecruiter.com/GoNoles. ZipRecruiter.com/GoNoles. Once again, for a free trial, go to ZipRecruiter.com/GoNoles.
Mahindra's inventory clearance is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth, like a Mahindra 750S Camo as low as $135 a month, or up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Only from Mahindra.
North Florida and South Georgia's authorized Mahindra dealer is TNT Super Center, US 19 South in Thomasville, and at TNTSuperCenter.com.
Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Program restrictions may apply.
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hey, at Jay Cameron Show. This is part of the new, like, 100 and however many characters now? 180, 280?
I think it's 280. Some people have it, not everybody.
How does some people? I don't want it. I don't care about it. I'm just now aware of it because somebody just wrote me a very lengthy question on Twitter, longer than I'm accustomed to.
As I understood it, there were trial, handles. They want to see how it goes.
So, like, you reach out and say, I want to be one of those guys?
I think they just choose you.
Well, Dan got chosen.
But maybe they're implementing it wider now, but that was the thing last week.
Running Knoll fan is clearly been chosen here, has clearly been chosen at Jay Cameron Show. I've got a question for you, and I've got an answer for you, Dan. When I stream via YouTube, not logged in, though, I don't get to hear the opening of the show. The sound just kicks in when you start speaking. Do I have to be logged in or something? Or should I go back to the radio streaming? Well, they have rules about that on the YouTube there, Dan. We're not allowed to play a song that we don't own, which we don't own these songs, obviously. Like just now, you just heard The Cars, or you didn't, Dan, but people did, as bumper music. We can't – YouTube flags that when we post the video later on, and you get knocked for it. If how many seconds do you get?
Oh, man.
It's like minuscule.
The algorithms they have are crazy. So when we do probables, we usually get popped. But the thing is, it you can get hit for it and not be penalized because what happened. The long story short is, those companies, those record companies, just if the videos went viral, they want their money.
Right.
So if you can't profit off of that video. But, I mean, if we played every single bumper song, we'd get dinged so much that I bet they suspend the YouTube account. So that's why we do it the way we do it.
Yeah, so they have a problem with it. They take issue if you're playing lengthy songs. Believe me, Dan, I'd like everybody to be able to hear the bumper. I'm a music guy, and I carefully choose the bumper music that we put in our system, and most of it, if not all, almost all of it, is stuff that I enjoy or have in for a specific reason. And yeah, I mean, I think it's an element of the show. I think it's a character on the show is my music snobbery. And so I would like you to hear it. and we don't get a chance to do that all the time. And for the YouTubers, but you do hear it if you're listening. Obviously, if you're just streaming the show, you can hear it, and you can hear it on the app.
Yeah, we have license protections for terrestrial radio.
Damn right we do.
But YouTube, people are still trying to figure out YouTube in the wild, wild west of copyrights.
But it is very strange because let me ask you this, and I'm working this out on the air. I don't care if it's bad radio. We're going to work this out on the air.
All right.
So if you have, let's say I had a music show. People have asked that I do a separate podcast for music, right? And just talk about whatever, okay? And I've thought about it, and if I do it, I want to do it the right way. I want to have guests and everything else. There are some that I listen to. There's a music podcast that I like. They don't get to play the whole song, but if they're talking about an album, say they're profiling a band, and they're profiling Johnny Cash, and they'll say, if you go back to late in life, Johnny Cash makes 4 really important records on American, and Rick Rubin comes in, and all of a sudden there's, new life in Johnny Cash's career. And this is when he recorded with the Heartbreakers. Tom Petty's backing band played on this record, and here's the first song off that album, and they play that song. They'll play 45 seconds. They'll get you to the chorus. They'll get you, they'll get you to the bridge. I mean, it happens. And they come back and go, okay, well, that's the first song off of such and such, Johnny Cash. And then they talk about what it meant and whatever, and they move on. And as they're making points throughout the broadcast, then they say, oh, by the way, I thought the best song on this record was this song. And if you remember, Will Oldham's on this song. And then they play it, and they talk about what that meant to Johnny Cash. How are they able to do that?
Well, I don't know the answer from a legal standpoint, but what I can tell you is what I see with other, radio agencies
right.
or outlets. NPR, for example, when they do,
they just did it with Tom Petty yesterday. They replayed Fresh Air, with Terry Gross's interview with Tom Petty, and they played songs.
I think part of it is that they don't want to play the whole song just because it's bad.
No, it's just bad
information.
Yeah.
People forget. They're like they tune in 3 minutes later, well, what's this?
Right?
Still?
No, yeah.
But the other part of it is if you just see the web component to what they do, they link to the SoundCloud or the official YouTube page of the band itself. So, if you're listening to it, if you click play, the monetization goes to the band and not to, the outlet or the podcast.
So you can get away with it as long as you are providing links to the band?
Honestly, I think you can get away with it no matter what you do because clearly there are sanctioned, fans that put songs from any number of bands, and they say all rights reserved to this band.
To this band.
And nobody comes after them because they're not getting money off of the video. They're not getting money off of the
I don't
clicks.
own this material.
Right.
This is a Pearl Jam song. I like it. You listen to it. Here you go. If you like that album, click on this site, and then it links you to that.
A little secret for you, for those of you that want to explore David Bowie, all of his albums, they have full album YouTube videos that you can just listen to.
Well, that's true of almost anybody, right? I've found like 8 or 9 bands that way.
Oh yeah, but for me, it was just when I was trying to go through the anthology, the music, the discography, if you will, there they all were. And so you can listen to these, and they haven't been pulled, and they've been around for 3-4 years at minimum. So you can find that stuff. I don't think they really come after you unless you're trying to make money off of their stuff yourself. you're probably going to be okay. At the same time, since we have, in theory, sometimes we do 3-segment hours, but if you had 12 segments and 2 songs per segment, that's 24. I don't think we need to get 24 dings and copyright notices a day. Then they're probably going to come after us and say, hey, guys, a little discretion here, please.
I'd like to take our chances, Tom.
They could just use the WTSM app.
I know. I'm kidding. There is a very thorough answer to your question. And, I thought it was fitting that you have the extra characters on Twitter. We took the extra time to answer because I actually think that's a common question. We have had some people email
it is
about
a common
that as
question.
well. So I figured, by the way, what do you think Jacques Patrick is averaging per carry this year?
Well, he had a healthy average.
He had a big game against Wake. That helped.
So that means he improved it, but it's still bad.
No. It's not bad. It's actually better than you think.
4.2.
5.3.
5.3?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's true. You know what? Cam got the most carries against NC State. I think he got 12 to Jaquez's 8. And then we didn't run the ball a whole lot against Alabama. So what he did against Wake was probably weighted heavily in his season total. What's he run for? Like 170 yards?
175.
Oh, there it is.
He's only averaging 58 yards per game. So what's interesting is when you hear that average and you think about all the give-up outside zone 3rd and 20 runs he had, which is just a ridiculous call. I'm not talking about giving up with a freshman quarterback on 3rd and obvious when you can't protect him. I get that. If you can't protect, you don't get that kid killed. Don't let him throw when the whole world knows you're throwing. They're in dime. I got you. Outside zone to Patrick on that play, man.
Well, consider last year. Of course, you're going to use Dalvin, but it would be like using Jaquez in the Orange Bowl. Remember the 3rd and long? We got the draw
Michigan,
play
and
that hits?
Takes it, yeah. I mean, that's because you have an electrifying athlete that makes some guy miss or breaks a tackle, and he may be out the gate, as Jimbo likes to say, but Patrick's not going to be.
We hear about Amir Rasul every week. He's not fit for that role, or Cam Akers is not fit for that role.
I don't get it at all. That's a misuse of personnel, plain and simple, and you know what? I'd like to hear the reason for it. I'm not saying he's ignored the question because I haven't posited that question to him, and so it's not fair for me to say he's avoiding it. He's not avoiding it, but it would just seem to stand to reason, right? Why would, if you're going to run that play, would you run him there?
But in truth, going back and looking, I was telling you about the offensive line and how it's just worse than you'd think if you go back and look play for play. There were a few plays where I go, oh, well, that's blocked up. Well, let's see if he hits it. And then you hit play, and he does. And you go, well... Jaquez had a really good game on Saturday.
Jaquez did have a good game on Saturday. You know what's weird? When you watch Jaquez run, even when he has good games or he has a good run, it always looks like he's on the cusp of being hurt. He always gets up. He's kind of gingerly getting up and sort of grabbing the ankle and the knee and sometimes it looks like maybe he's got a hamstring issue. I can never figure out. He could just be pulling a Jim Brown. Jim Brown used to lay there, never wanted to show anybody that he was in a hurry or hurt or that you got to him, so he got up very slowly, but he did it every time. So after a while, that just became his thing, and you could never know. Maybe that's what he's doing. But it always looks like Jaquez is dinged up on the play. He did have a good game. And I don't think that's all that surprising. He had a very high yards per carry last year. There are opponents that he can have good games against. Teams with a lot of lateral speed and who get a lot of penetration aren't teams that he's going to have a good game against. It's not typically something that any running back has a good game against, except if you are fleet of foot, change of direction, kind of turn on a dime guy, the way that Dalvin was, the way that Doug Martin is for the Bucs, for example. He's going to do more when teams get penetration to get something out of nothing than any of those other backs, certainly more than Sims, let's say. And I think that's, in this situation, what's frustrating is that Cam Akers doesn't quite know where to run yet, and I'd like that process to speed up a little bit because his overall ability to make guys miss at his feet and get something out of nothing, because he's awfully strong too, that's going to be better than Jaquez Patrick. Patrick, if you can run downhill and you can bludgeon people and you can get him in a rhythm and get him carrying the ball 20 times a game, then he's your guy to wear on, folks. Miami, top 3 in the country in tackles for loss. Last week, you allowed Wake Forest to set a record for tackles for loss, a school record, and a season high by far for Wake. That doesn't bode well unless something gets very cleaned up on the offensive line this week. They can't possibly be as bad as they were a week ago. We don't think. But it certainly concerns you going into this game where Mark, listen, when you, well, I'm looking at both sides of the ball. I'm getting concerned about a lot of things. But for me, I was going to say
Walton.
Well, I was going to bring up Mark Walton later, but I was talking about Miami's defense against our offensive line. With their front seven being as talented as it is, vastly superior to that of Wake Forest's, it certainly is hard to imagine that Florida State's going to clean it up to the point where they need to, where they can create the kind of balance that we're looking for.
Well, we talked about it. I don't know if it was on the air. It might have been off, just about the personnel usage. And I heard you guys hit on it on headlines yesterday. Whew, that was brutal headlines. But using guys like, okay, for example, Jaquez Patrick, if you call outside zone or stretch, can be successful, but that's not his bread and butter. You got to go straight ahead with him. Cam Akers, if you want to run something that requires...
he needs some vision.
He needs vision, and he needs to know when to cut back. He did it a couple times this game, but then also he had a couple of shortcomings this game as well, and moments where you go, oh, man, I wish you could see that. But, I mean, you better put the players in the position where they're most likely to succeed. Just because they can do it...
It's your job as a coach, is to put your players in a position to succeed.
It's the second and goal call against NC State, 2 weeks ago. You're calling a short side, outside zone play to Jaquez? I mean, come on, man. That could work. Yes, it could. Well, but is it likely to work, given his skill set?
This is important because, and I know we got to go to break, but this is important in that I think when things get convoluted, and this is, listen, we're trying to break down what's going wrong, and there have been a lot of things going wrong, and it begins to pile up, and you begin to feel like it's just a relentless sea of criticism and doubt and frustration and anger. But I'm actually, amidst all this, having an honest observation of what we're seeing and trying to vet some of these things just almost aloud, right? I think a lot of Florida State fans are doing that. When you see the kinds of mistakes that we believe to be mistakes anyhow, and personnel decisions and who's running what plays and why and not properly utilizing skill sets, etc., I think that tells me not that there was a conscious choice to decide to run outside zone with Jaquez Patrick on 3rd and 20 because he thinks he's the right guy to run the play. It tells me that Jimbo's in his head in the playbook again. Remember that version of Jimbo that we weren't in love with, that was always staring at the play sheet and not what was going on around him? Not as a head coach, what was happening with his team. And as a head coach, sometimes the ability to delegate to coaches you trust, get away from that playbook and go over and talk to an official about maybe a way that they're calling the game, or an awareness of the time and situation, or a segment that needs their head coach to talk to them here, or a player that needs an arm around the shoulder. When you get the version of Jimbo that is tied up in that playbook and that next play, and it's deeply personal with him because that's his playbook and his play, and it should work. And why isn't it working? And damn it, this would have worked if you had just done this. All right. Well, here's what we're going to do. And you don't get the guy seeing the big picture, then you get that. Then you get these sort of, why are we running that guy on this play? That's when that happens to me. More than any other time. When he's in a good rhythm and things are going well and the team is performing, even if it's a great game and it could go either way and it's a tense spot, but he's the overall presentation of the offense is such that he's got trust in the players attempting to execute those plays, then he'll step away from that play sheet for a second and allow Randy to do it. And he'll go over and talk to individuals. Hey, listen, I need you to shorten this up, or I need you to angle this a little bit better. I need you to round this. But, then you see the teaching and the coaching and the big picture, Jimbo Fisher, and he hasn't been able to do that. Some of that's his fault or his staff's fault, but some of that is, I think, too, some of which he can't really help, and that's a true freshman quarterback and
execution.
Right.
I mean, again, he can't say that on a Monday at his press conference the way he did after the 2012 loss to NC State. But to be on balance here, if you can't trust your offensive line to handle its business, I mean, you're going to have to micromanage and sift through the playbook to find something for you. And I think that lends itself to the discussion we're having earlier. I think it was probably Monday. Simplify. If you when in doubt, simplify.
I've been screaming 10 plays, man. Run them well. If you can do 10, you can do 11. Let's get to 10. Run those 10 really well. Then we'll give you 11th.
Right. Outside zone right now is not one of the 10.
Here's your 12th play. We're going to give you your guys.
Yeah.
Got the 12th play this week.
Yeah.
We're up to 12.
It might be, beneath everything that we hold dear with our offensive principles, but we got to get by right now. This is getting by territory.
Well, you're scratching and clawing, man. I mean, he's in lockdown mode right now. I mean, look at what he gave the media this week. This isn't a whiny sort of whatever. I don't care. I don't have to interview those players. I don't need it. I don't need access. Well, I mean, I like it, but I don't need it. But when you give them, backup players on Miami week.
Right. It's Derwin, Vickers, the fullback.
Thanks for Vickers.
I think it's a reserve linebacker. I don't know which linebacker they got.
Right. They got nothing.
Yeah.
Here's a big bag of crap, guys. This is what you got. Here's what I'm giving you this week. A big pile of crap. So that's what he gave the media this week. They're on lockdown mode. Good. Fine, whatever. I don't know how it helps you to do that.
It hasn't.
It hadn't done any good. But all right. Go out and win this game. Maybe the narrative shifts. Maybe he says, well, this week we'll give him Jaquez Patrick. We'll give him Izzo. We'll give him what I don't know. I don't know
that Izzo would want to talk after last week. That was not a performance to remark on.
It's a frustrating situation. You need to keep those guys into block because your line is letting you down. So elements of your offense go away now, which involved Izzo, and he was poised for a big year, and then that goes away, and he's frustrated, but then he doesn't do a good job blocking, and Saunders has never been a good blocker.
Then you're yelling, get open to Nooney, which I think he's frustrated because if he's going to leave 6 or 7 in to protect, I got 3 people releasing.
Yeah.
One of you has to get open.
Well, right now, the only guy he can really trust to get open is Auden Tate, and that guy's been really consistent. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
The tech to get you there and back.
Okay, you're holding that map upside down, by the way.
Oh yeah, I thought Indiana looked strange. Take on summer right with Ford, America's best-selling brand, during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Get 0% financing for 72 months on select Fusion, Escape, Edge, and Explorer models. Plus, get $1,000 on top of your trade-in. Offer ends August 22nd. Best selling based on current year 2016 sales. Don't drive while distracted. Use voice-operated systems when possible. Don't use handheld devices while driving. Not all buyers qualify for Ford credit financing. 72 months at $1,389 per month per $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Trade Assist Cash requires trade-in of 95 or newer vehicle or lease terminated 30 days prior to or 90 days after new retail delivery. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for complete details. Take delivery from dealer stock by August 22nd, 2017.
Football season is in full swing, and so is AAA One Transmission. AAA One Transmission is locally owned and operated by Tim Pridgeett agent who's been servicing the Tallahassee area for over 37 years. Brakes, transmissions, electrical systems, tune-ups, and battery checks. No matter what ails your vehicle, AAA1 Transmission can make your automobile healthy again. Don't put off your auto repairs. Stop it at 1023 North Monroe Street or call them at 222-2532.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Hey, this is Clay Culpepper with Miller's Tree Service. Summertime is here and storm season is right around the corner. We offer free consultations with a certified arborist where we meet with you and advise you on which trees are healthy, diseased, dead, or ones that may need trimming or even removal.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Give us a call at 894-TREE.
Fire up the grills for another season of Seminole football.
2nd and 3, patient, then explosive, and a touchdown for the Noles.
It's Tallahassee Game Day, your ESPN Tallahassee pregame show featuring Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang.
I like them.
Get the latest news, interviews, and insights 3 hours ahead of kickoff before the Noles defend home turf.
Hey, on Saturday, we're going to play a game. We're going to most likely win that game, and we're going to celebrate on Sunday.
Tallahassee Game Day is brought to you by Whole Foods Market, a leader in natural and organic food that brings the highest quality of local and global products to Tallahassee. Whole Foods Market, located at 1817 Thomasville Road, and presented by MMT Clinics of Florida. Visit mmtcfl.com.
To the pylon! That's a Seminoles touchdown!
The coast is here. Wharf Casual Seafood is a family-friendly restaurant serving high-quality fresh seafood at a great value since 1986. Wharf Casual Seafood's philosophy is that seafood can be affordable, fast, and top-notch quality all at the same time. No one brings families together like Wharf Casual Seafood. Visit their Tallahassee locations on Bannerman Crossing and the newly opened Mahan location at the Costco shopping area. Open 7 days a week. Visit wharfcasualseafood.com for more information or to order online. No need to drive when the coast is here.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. Thirsty? They have the Lucky Sevens. $7 domestic pitchers after 7 p.m., 7 days a week, $7.95. Daily specials. Locally owned and operated since 1978. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill. 3 locations to choose from. 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Contact your local CenturyLink retail store to enter for a chance to win the CenturyLink Ultimate Football Fan Experience, which includes a trip to the biggest game of the year. For eligibility and official rules, go to CenturyLinkFanForLife.com/FAQ. CenturyLink, your link to what's next.
You check things all the time, like your email every 10 seconds, or your ex's Instagram. But what about checking something as important as your credit? Well, Discover makes it quick, easy, and best of all, free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores to everyone for free, even if you're not a customer. And checking your score won't hurt your credit. We call it the Discover Credit Scorecard. And once you know your score, you should check to see if your current credit card is the best fit for you. Check your credit, compare your card. Go to discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. You know, Brewfest is coming up. I'm going to tell you about some Brewfest here in a little bit because I'm going to go to Brewfest. I've missed the last couple of Brewfest. I was at the first ever Brewfest. I feel like I helped champion Brewfest.
Oh, yes, you have, specifically over the years.
I have.
Yes, that's no joke.
I have. I have been an early proponent of the goodness that is Brewfest. Now, it hasn't always fallen on the right dates. A lot of times, it's fallen on a date where FSU has the weekend off. It's a bye week, and that's the week I would choose to maybe get out of town and try to get my head right for the remainder of the season. And so we would leave town, and I think, damn, man, Brewfest, I'm leaving town. But this time around, it's while I'm in town. You, however, will be out of town.
Yeah, man. It's the day after we play Boston College on a Friday.
On a Friday. Mm-hmm. Don't you love those Friday night games? Boy, there's nothing better than a good Friday night game. So, yeah, I wish we wouldn't do that. But I guess I will say that if it's in lieu of having to play a Thursday night game on the road, then okay.
I agree. Plus, also, if it's a game like Boston College, which is, it's got to be in doubt now, but it's going to be an ugly game, I'd rather purge that, have it done, and watch the slate on Saturday or go to Brewfest, be able to go wherever.
I am so desperate for some turn towards the positive, and I'm not a guy that cares to worry about whether something is positive or negative as it pertains to football. It just is what it is, and you talk about it accordingly. But, yeah, I admit if I'm listening to this show, I'm feeling a little beat up, and I think it's because, again, there's been so much else going on that's negative. I mean, whether it's the 3 different hurricanes or it's the horrific events in Las Vegas, whatever it might be, then you pile on, I guess, for lack of a better term, sort of delays and schedule, and then the team hasn't played well, period. And I know some of this is insignificant in the big picture. I got you, but it's been a mess of a football season. There's just no other way to put it. And this is what you use for escape. And so when that thing's a mess to go along with the tragedies that you were all just being bombarded with, I admit, you turn on the Jeff Cameron show and you go, hey, man, I got you. We're not playing well and things look dire right now, but, dude, I hear you. I'm sure. I mean, I'm not responding to anybody specific right now. I just can hear it in my headset. You know how we do this?
Sure.
You and I gauge each other and talk about the show that way. It's sort of, hey, have you noticed lately we may have been maybe too cynical or too positive, or maybe we've been a little too all over the place? And I pride myself on kind of being all over the place because I adhere to the way I just normally am, and I'm not going to do a show that is very specific to certain rules.
Oh, no, scatterbrained for all the right reasons.
But, I mean, the point would be, I hear it. I know, man. But I wish there was something to latch on to, I guess, is the larger point. And maybe it's this game because, believe me, if Florida State knocks off Miami, and I don't care if it's the ugliest game of all time, if Florida State wins 3-0, a happier guy you will not find than me. I mean, you won't.
Even 3-0.
3-0. Butt naked. Running around the house.
No. Okay.
I'm not running in public butt naked 3-0. 56-0 maybe. But yeah. Yeah. 3-0. But why I got to be screaming all crazy like a little girl? I mean, I can be like, yeah, and still be butt naked.
I don't know. It's just
why do I have to be like we're in a Roman bathhouse? I mean, I can't just why can't I be, full of gusto as I'm naked?
Yeah. I don't know. Just, I would. You'd have to go a little bit crazy to do it in the first place. So I think.
Well, 56-0. I think we'd all be a little bit crazy. That would be the weirdest thing we've ever seen.
Closing my eyes, driving down Cap Circle.
I do not want to run into Cameron. I guarantee you, since we won 56-0 today, he is butt naked, terrorizing the neighborhood. But I bet you I'd be high-fiving with other butt naked people running around the neighborhood celebrating 56-0. That's the kind of thing that gets you naked.
This feels like some kind of thing that the billionaires do in the woods when they go off the grid.
It's Naked Fest. I'll be there, Bob. I'm flying in my jet because I can. No, if you we're not going to win 56-0, Tom. We're just not. But 3-0 is in the realm of possibility. It's not likely, but it's more likely than 56-0. So I'll go with the example or the hypothetical 3-0, right?
That's a really sad statement.
I would celebrate 3-0. Imagine the streak continues to 8 and you shut them out. I wouldn't even be talking about the 3 points. I'd be like, shut your ass out.
Boy, a touchdown would have helped. Hell, 2 safeties would have gotten the job done.
But you didn't score. Shut out. You guys are proud of the 3-0 win? Oh, yes.
Spike that baseball.
Yeah, get you some. A little shutout for that ass. Yeah, that'd be great. I will have the spiked baseball. I will call Chip.
Charles?
No, I'm not calling Charles Kelly. I'm calling Chip Baker.
Okay.
Who presents
who
the
presents
spike.
it. Yeah.
Chip and I go way back.
Big shooter. That's how I know him.
That's right. Chip and I go way back. The Colonel. And I will ask him for that spiked baseball. I've never asked for one of those. They go to the defense coordinator, go to FSU, but I will hold it up for my Twitter feed.
You could ask for a separate one.
Yeah, I would like a separate one, Chip, if you're listening. I always appreciate that you do. Can you, if we shut Miami out this weekend, whether it's 3-0 or 80-0, I'd like baseball, please. Just I've never asked you for anything, Chip. Maybe a couple things, but just that. That's it. I don't think that's going to happen. Now we're talking crazy. But I don't think there would be really anything at this juncture that would allow for me to run the streets naked in celebration of the win. Because it's not on the table. It's not on the docket. We don't have the team to do that. By the way, James Blackman, up till now, if you are curious about what he's been, I don't know why I have not bothered to check the stats prior to today. And stats are what they are. You can utilize them and manipulate them the way you want. But when you look at this, Jacques Patrick, on the one hand, averaging 58 yards a game on the ground is not very good. 5.3 yards per carry is good. James Blackman, averaging 130 yards a game through the 133 yards per game in the air, not very good. But you'll take 33 of 59 for 399, 2 TDs, and no picks.
Yeah, that's a fine line.
I mean, you know,
absolutely.
That's what he is this year. You'll look at that and go, all right. Yeah, that's not terrible.
Well, it bears out what your eyes tell you, and your eyes tell you. Thank you for the segue out of that stuff, by the way, about nakedness in the streets. But your eyes tell you that he's not the issue. Now, does he get lost at times? Absolutely. Does he get flustered? Yes, he does. He's looking like a freshman, but a freshman with upside. I mean, I think, isn't that the truth? We're talking about the O-line and how the special teams were awful. Now they're great. Defense let you down week 2. Offense was really at the point of attack bad this past weekend. But the kid is doing what you posited he might do, which is show you concrete bits of evidence that the future is not lost if this guy is going to be your quarterback for the next couple of seasons.
It's the whole season this year, though. To me, this is what you had to do. If you were going to lower your sights a little bit from what your expectations were before the year to the time just after DeAndre Francois got hurt. You know, listen, as much as I said afterwards, that may be the last of DeAndre Francois here as a starting quarterback. It was less about taking a shot at DeAndre Francois and more about what we knew the skill set to be of James Blackman. So what I thought would happen was over the course of the season, maybe not initially, certainly not initially, James Blackman would emerge as a very talented signal caller and a kid at 6'5" with some natural gifts, some arm talent that DeAndre Francois doesn't possess. He possesses some things that James Blackman doesn't possess. But that would be enough to carry the day, that the experience he would garner this year and the moments he would have, good and bad and everything in between, would lead to him having the upper hand going into the offseason, and that you would see enough. You would get enough of a glimpse of James Blackman's talents to know that he's probably the guy that's going to lead this team moving forward. And the other sad part of that projection on my part was that the type of injury that DeAndre Francois has, there's no guarantee he's in a position to compete for this job in spring. It's a difficult injury. It's kind of a weird one, too. You don't see it all that frequently in football, the injury he has. It's not your standard sort of ACL. And you go read about what he has, and you realize he's got a long road to hoe. And I'm really rooting for him, and I think we all are. I mean, we think the world of that kid. He's a really hard worker and tough as nails, and you root for him to get back in the competition. It's good for him. It's good for the team. It's good for James Blackman. It's good for everybody involved. You want competition. But that's why I did that. And we are getting those glimpses. That has happened. We are seeing James Blackman give you enough evidence that, hey, man, in 4 weeks, 5 weeks, what is that kid going to be? Of course, that's all dependent on whether or not they can get this offensive line moving in the right direction. Because right now, it's an embarrassment, and it's something the coaches are really probably having a hard time with behind closed doors.
Yeah, 2 keys. 1, get the offensive line to give him some semblance of consistent protection, and 2, start to operate over the middle of the field. If he does that, then we're really talking.
It's a big step, though. It's hard for young players. It's hard for anybody to get comfortable throwing the ball in the middle of the field, especially against speed. And you know, a mistake in the middle of the field leads to big problems. You either get somebody killed or it's picked off. And so I think, you know, in this situation, he's been very, very careful. Jimbo's probably been very careful as a play caller as well. Hey, man, screen away, I guess, for now.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra Emax 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my poor truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
0894.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
Yo, where the hell are you? Dude, I'm here, sitting at the bar. Where are you? The hell you are? I've been here for 30 minutes. Erroneous. BS. I've been sitting at this bar for 3 hours drinking pecan whiskey. We said Pensacola, dude. Why would we meet there? We're old men, and that's for the kids. Hashtag Northsiders. Did you just hashtag me? Hashtag hell yes. See you in 30. Get the mahi and a beer.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
And now, a Sport Clips well-played moment.
Gentlemen, the mind of the human male is a peculiar thing. Every day we walk through a car wash of external stimuli, from the eyeballs to the ear holes, to exotic hot dog smells, to imported energy drinks. So does our mind wander? You bet it does. Wait, what was I saying? Oh yeah, that's why Sport Clips is Sport Clips. They make a haircut memorable, but with as little thought required from us as possible. A great MVP haircut experience with a hot steam towel, massaging shampoo, and sweet, sweet sports on TV. So if that man in the mirror looks like an island castaway, or just has some hair that needs attention, well, you've got this solved because you know Sport Clips. And if you're already looking Sport Clips handsome, well played, sir. Well played.
Sport Clips haircuts. Find a location near you at sportclips.com.
Redemption Thursday on The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by FranksAutoWorld.com. Ranked by Car Gurus as the best used car dealer in Tallahassee. Check out the best selection of pre-owned vehicles in Tallahassee at FranksAutoWorld.com. Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. At this hour, a pair of NL West rivals meet up in the NL wildcard game as the Diamondbacks welcome the Rockies, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio. Zach Greinke, John Gray. Plenty of power in both lineups, so don't be surprised if it's a high-scoring game, says ESPN's Jessica Mendoza.
You can go through the Diamondbacks, with Paul Goldschmidt, and Jake Lamb, and A.J. Pollock, and obviously J.D. Martinez and the ridiculous month that he has had. And then you flip it on over Charlie Blackmon, Nolan Arenado, DJ LeMahieu. There's so many hitters in that game.
Jessica Mendoza on the Baseball Tonight podcast. NFL Colts quarterback Andrew Luck set to do limited work in today's practice. He won't practice tomorrow, then will practice again Friday. He's been out recovering from shoulder surgery. Luck will not play on Sunday. Steelers receiver Antonio Brown apologizing on Twitter for the noise and distractions to the team because of his sideline antics on Sunday. Opening night in the NHL, Penguins will raise their 5th Stanley Cup championship banner before hosting the Blues. LA and Minnesota, winner-take-all Game 5 of the WNBA Finals, 8 Eastern, ESPN TV.
Brought to you by JCPenney. Guys, get to JCPenney today for Levi's lowest prices of the season, like 505 regular fit and 501 original fit for $36.99 each. And check out our new big and tall shop inside the men's store at JCPenney. That's getting your pennies worth. JCPenney.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. That's funny. You just saw me realize I forgot something. I can see the panic looked on your face. Like, what's he doing?
Well, your mic was hot, so I was, wait. What's he going to say? Don't shout through the glass.
Yeah. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. I remembered something right when we were coming back on the air that I forgot about, but it was a good thing, so I wasn't going to curse. I realized I've got a cold brew coffee waiting on me. Sitting here thinking, I forgot my cold brew. That's not what you do. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. If you do miss something, we'll post all 3 hours, both on iTunes and our own Audio Vault. You can watch the show being performed on YouTube. Just type in ESPN Tallahassee. We'll find me. And for those of you that asked recently, because iTunes has changed some things up, and I'm still figuring this out, I call my computer Wheezy, and it's struggling, as the name might suggest.
George.
Yeah, it's struggling, as the name might suggest, but my iTunes is on there. Well, my iTunes is also on my phone, but the point would be I like working from the computer, the bigger screen, because I got a lot of stuff going on there, and it's not letting me get into the iTunes, and the reason that bothers me is iTunes has this new thing now where I can do playlists like you do on Spotify for the listeners. Some of them asked if I would do that, and I just asked last week, and I said absolutely, but it won't let me do it because Wheezy is struggling. So I got to get Wheezy together.
George, I can't do a playlist for you.
Wheezy's like, are you kidding me? You're lucky to be able to pull up your email and ESPN.com. That's about the best you can do. That's all I got for you, Cameron. Trade me in. I'm old. I'm brittle. I'm tired. I've been doing this processing for long enough. I've got pictures galore on here. I've got music. I've got all kinds of stored history. It's time to move on. Pass all that information on to a younger laptop, please. That's what Wheezy would say if Wheezy could speak.
What would Wheezy's successor's name be?
Peppy.
Here you go. I can open this window. Here you go.
I take it to beer.
What else you need?
Yeah, Peppy's going to come
Populated
on.
Google Chrome.
There you go. Yeah, Peppy's going to be happy. Peppy's going to be like, all right, let's get it on.
Is Peppy going to be of a Mac persuasion or a PC?
I'm leaning towards Mac, but I don't, there's a process involved in that too. Although, you know how one of the things I like about Apple, and there are things I don't like about Apple, but one of the things I like about Apple or iPhones in general It's just how intuitive they are. Like, everything is exactly as you think it should be. So when you're looking for how to do something on that phone, you go, you know what I would do? The easiest thing would be, oh, that's how you do it. That's always cool. And if I can get that to happen on my MacBook Pro or something, then I'd be happy. Then I'll be like, oh, see, what would be reasonable is if I just hit, that's it. There it is. All right.
Way to go, Peppy.
Yeah, I got you. You and I are on the same page, unlike Jameis Winston and Deshaun Jackson. You and I, we got it down. We're all right.
I think we all need a little Peppy in our lives.
Yeah.
I think the coaching staff could use a Peppy in the building.
Hey, Peppy.
We fans could use a Peppy to lighten up a little bit.
That sounds like a drug. You got any Peppy? Now listen, nobody's around. You got any Peppy?
Of course I do. Hang on, 1 second.
Give me some of that Peppy. I could use a little Peppy. We got a day game after a night game. So hey, by the way, last night's baseball was a lot of fun for 5 innings, and then it wasn't. That was really, really good because that's the atmosphere that makes you feel like you're at a college football game. One of the things you love about being at a college football game is the atmosphere. It's sometimes not even about the game itself. It's about who you're with, the energy, the moments where the game changes and you feel it and it races through the crowd and rises up. And you get the home run from Gregorius last night. And so when Didi pisses on that ball and ties the game 3-3, I'm thinking to myself, it's one of those rare times watching a game where a baseball game where it comes out of the television, where you can feel that, whoa, look at the fun they're having. And I hate the Yankees, but look at the fun they're having.
You know who really announced their presence doing that in the last few years was Toronto.
Oh, yeah,
Toronto's
the playoff
postseason
games
atmosphere.
there.
Oh, my goodness. It's
I love
uncomfortable.
Canadians anyhow. They have a blast with their teams. They love their teams, and they're so desperate because in the NHL they can never win anything, and they invented the sport, and they get screwed. It's hilarious. But I do love their passion.
Since 93.
I mean, that's a long damn time. That's ridiculous.
Oh, boy. It'll be 30 years before you know it.
Think about that. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, think about it. That has to infuriate. I mean, on a daily basis, when it's the off season in the NHL, just a random dude driving around Montreal just stops at a red light and goes, damn it, that is ridiculous. The Canadian team hasn't won the Stanley Cup in nearly 30 years.
Sir. We speak French.
Somebody in Calgary, this is ridiculous.
Yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay. See, now, you know how SEC fans are noted for rooting for the SEC in key games.
No matter what, right?
No matter what. Canada will do that. The hockey team gets to the Cup final from the country.
Well, at this point, sweet Jesus.
That's what they do.
Well, it's like the Brits in Wimbledon when they're claiming the Scots and the Irish. And this, they're like, man, they hate you. You want to say, yeah.
Next time an Indian player comes up here, you're going to claim him too?
You're going to make him dress up like the British Navy? It's ridiculous. That's right. He's an all white. No, it's so you look at it. Andy Murray, when he won, the English were like, yeah, man, get the hell out of here with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's wrong.
He's one of ours.
No, he's not. He hates your ass. Anyhow, not that anybody should. Just the point is, I could see with Canada, it would be. Mm-hmm.
That's right. The NHL starts tonight. So
it does. It's appropriate that we're bringing this up.
Hope everybody gets ready for 2 segments a day dedicated to the NHL.
No, we know where we are. We also know it's Florida State-Miami week, and that's why, if you missed the first hour, you missed the playing of the montage from a year ago after we got our 7th straight victory over the Canes. It went on for days, 4 minutes, and we announced, more than 4 minutes, that this year, much to Tom's chagrin, I noted that if Florida State is to remain victorious yet again over Miami, we shall produce for you an 8-minute montage. Now, I will meet you on Sunday. We will sit down, and we will make this thing happen, brother. I look forward to it. I've already got it in my head.
That we're going to get to 8 minutes?
Easily. There's so much salt in the wound that you can pour. I mean, we usually have to dial back when we do this thing. I mean, the bulk of the work is on Tom. I'm not trying to take too much credit for this. We share ideas, we talk about music and certain clips, but then Tom edits everything and puts it together. That's his expertise. He's great at it. I sit around, he plays it back for me. I go, I don't like that. I do like that. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And then we get it together. Anyhow, the point is, it's more work for Tom than it is me, admittedly. But that's the kind of sacrifice and the fun and games we have around here, so we will do that on Sunday.
You sacrifice sitting there waiting to listen.
And I sit around waiting to talk to Jimbo Fisher on Sundays while you enjoy the football game at the bar, and I go, been here for 2 hours. Great. Yeah, so, I mean, we all have our lot in life, Tom.
Boy, for those riveting answers from the last couple of weeks, too.
Well, and those are the kinds of interviews that I'm not really overly enthused to do. That's not to say that you can't get great material after a loss. In fact, what many people don't know is that Jimbo Fisher is very good after losses. Most of the time, I think he's understanding that people want answers. Right now, we're seeing a little bit more of a closed-in, shut-down Jimbo Fisher. That's frustrating.
Because Jimbo wants answers.
Right. And again, some of the answers, even if he understands and knows exactly what it is, why it is, and how to fix it, you're not going to get, or he's certainly not going to give them to me, and I get that. I'm not of the mindset that he should fall on the sword to make everybody feel better about the problems that plague this team. You ought not have to, as a head coach, I don't think, illuminate for everybody, hey, I'm well aware that your complaints, as unnuanced as they may be from the public, hold some validity. He's not going to do that. He's not going to tell you, believe me, the first chance I get, I'm firing Rick Trickett. He's just not going to do that. So kind of what we want, what we need, what would make us feel better, you're just never going to hear. Now, there are certain other things you don't have to say because it lends itself to doubt. It lends itself to people going, is he aware? You don't want to go down that road either. You don't want to present the possibility that you're so in it, so enclosed, wrapped up in it, myopic, that you can't see the forest for the trees. That's a bad deal. That's when people get scared. And this fan base in particular would get very, very edgy at that point because we watched it happen. We watched it happen to a guy who was a living legend. And, I think most are resigned to never let that happen again, right? And so, this is part of the larger talking point that we've had time and again that, look, no matter what happens this year, truthfully, nothing's going to really change, not from the head coach anyhow. I mean, personnel decisions could change, as to who's still here on that staff. Those are the kinds of things that could change. And I don't doubt that that's, currently probably something that's going to happen.
Yeah, but the problem is you got 2 months of the season left.
That's exactly the problem. You have a bunch of football games to play. And as I'm fond of saying, games are won and lost for a reason. And you can talk about, well, I think they'll win that game or they'll lose that game, but then you see it actually happen, and that presents other problems.
Speaking of games, too, one of our old-time listeners sent me, he figured out how to work Twitter, but he sent an image of the earliest reasonable time for expected tropical storm winds for this weekend.
Yeah.
And that's Saturday at 8 p.m. They'd be covering the Tallahassee area as it stands now with current models. Man, I mean, that's post-game tailgate territory if you're kicking off at 3 o'clock. Liability concerns if you're the university.
Closest that...
The soonest that...
we would see tropical storm
The soonest
winds.
it's possible to... they're talking about the edge of probability.
Like the storm really speeding up.
You getting the outer bands, which give you the tropical storm force sustained winds. I mean, again, it probably not, but the earliest it could possibly happen. That's basically what that graphic is saying, is that it would be around Saturday at 8 p.m. as the model looks now. So tons of uncertainty. But if you're Florida State, concerned about safety, liability, all that stuff, and you say we're kicking off at 3:30, games typically take 3.5 hours these days. So people are still going to be post-game tailgating in our lots at 8 p.m. when tropical storm winds come. They have to be watching this very closely overnight to see if they want to alter and make the game earlier in the day.
It's currently set, of course, to kick off at 3:30. And as of right now, Florida State has not made an announcement. If you're wondering as you tune in, what in the hell are Jeff and Tom talking about? There is another storm, and it's not nearly as dire or as ominous as Irma. But it is a storm nonetheless, at this point being categorized as a tropical storm. And it is moving, at least some of the models have it moving directly towards Tallahassee over the weekend. And, of course, not good, right? And so then some were wondering, wait a minute, are they going to cancel the game? Are they going to move the game? Does not look like the game would be canceled at this point. Many of the models have this storm, the worst of it kind of coming in actually Sunday. So the earliest that you would start to feel the effects of tropical storm, the outer bands, tropical storm winds, from what we're hearing, what we're checking on with actual weathermen, this isn't an opinion of mine or Tom's. We're talking to people who do this for a living.
Right.
They are telling us 6 o'clock p.m., 8 o'clock p.m., maybe would be the fastest, the earliest you would have to confront that. But here's the problem with that. Football games, college football games especially, take a long time. So project that game to take 4 hours, and you're looking at 7:30 as you're walking out of the stadium.
Right.
And if you're talking about tropical storms hitting, tropical storm winds hitting here at 8 o'clock, well, then, you got a problem. So the likelihood that they would then move this up to noon, if you on its current path, I would suggest that's probably going to happen.
Well, yes.
On its current path. Now, let's wait till tomorrow morning.
And I saw, the reports, all the other media outlets have reports, and they're talking to people inside the administration, and one of those reports says, it's the soonest on Thursday is probably when the university would make a decision. So they want to see how it gets by Central America tonight as it develops into the Gulf. And make no mistake, this isn't, it's coming for us people moment. We're not even close to there yet. The cone could be anywhere from Louisiana all the way through the western panhandle of Florida and then right through Tallahassee. But at the same time, if you have to plan for the worst case scenario, the worst case scenario says we're getting sustained winds that could be damaging with, lightning delays and all that kind of stuff that you don't want to deal with right in the post-game, end-of-game period of time. So it'll be interesting to see what develops overnight and if there is, in fact, a change. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Also, for those of you who want information on it, right, it's a tropical depression at the moment. I don't think it's been declared a storm.
Right. They're saying it will turn into.
It's going to. It's going to be called Nate. So that's the name of the storm once it gets named will be Nate. Nate. That's who it is.
Got a dear friend who is a detective, police officer for many years, whose son is named Nate. I don't know if that's good or bad news.
Is he a good kid?
Great kid.
Oh.
Great kid, yeah. You ever been to Cancun?
No, I've never been to Cancun. One of my regrets.
Well, I mean, listen, there are many more places to go to before you go to Cancun. I've been to Cancun.
I've never been around the Caribbean anything,
Yeah. Yucatan Peninsula, all that. It's I've been to Cancun.
No Bahamas, no Cancun, no St. Thomas. I mean, obviously right now they're
Bahamas.
Really?
Yeah. Don't worry about the Bahamas.
Like corporate feel to it, or?
Well, that's the problem with all these places is they're touristy destinations, as you might imagine, and you got to deal with that. And you and I aren't big fans of a lot of the elements that come with touristy destinations.
Not a big fan of the sandals approach, are you?
Sandals is all right. I don't have a problem with sandals. There are trips I've seen people that have taken and used sandals. Yeah, no, it's all right. It's okay. I don't want to screw myself out of a free trip someday. So let's just Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my poor truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin, Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Hart Jr., BuickGMCCadillac.com.
Wow, this is great. E+.
E+? Is that like A+?
It's better. The E stands for easy.
Easy Plus?
Yep. Easy ways to save energy, water, and money from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. Your own utilities. The City of Tallahassee Utilities has created easy ways to monitor your account with E+ online. We can pay online, we can check our balance online, compare usage history online, and even take a free online energy audit.
And I see the City of Tallahassee Utilities has created a new smart bill. Once we enroll, we do everything online. Billing, paying, everything. What a time saver. Not to mention saving energy, water, and money.
And when we download the City of Tallahassee Utilities Digitally smartphone app, we can do everything on our phone. Pretty incredible.
Plus, there are new authorized payment locations, like some local gas stations, grocery stores, other city departments, and more.
We can even go to the Renaissance Center at 435 North Macomb Street to pay our bill.
Wow. The E really does stand for easy, doesn't it?
It sure does. E+ from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. Your own utilities.
Have you ever noticed when you report an accident or a claim to an insurance company, they are very eager to get you to one of their approved body shops. They say that they guarantee the shops work, but what they're really saying is the shop works for them, not the customer. So choose a shop that is working for and looking out for you, someone you trust. It's your choice. Lisa's Paint and Body.
License number MP46050.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra E-Max 22 as low as $99 a month, or up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Only from Mahindra.
North Florida and South Georgia's authorized Mahindra dealer is TNT Super Center, US 19 South in Thomasville, and at TNTSuperCenter.com.
Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Program restrictions may apply.
Look at that mouth. That poor, parched mouth. So dry. What'd you eat for lunch? Chalk dust? Did your mouth cannonball into a barrel of mothballs? You're being awfully quiet. Is that because your mouth feels like the business end of a Dremel saw? Is it because your mouth just wrote a haiku and all 17 syllables were dry heaves? You're so parched. You know it. I know it. The entire radio knows it. Just admit it. You want a Mountain Dew. Your mouth feels like it just inhaled the insides of a punching bag, and the only remedy is that neon green potion. Right now, your mouth could be tongue bathing in the refreshing citrus kick of Mountain Dew. Instead, it feels like you've been motorboating King Tut's sarcophagus. Show some mercy. Crack open an ice-cold Mountain Dew. You know your mouth wants you to. Do the Dew.
Nothing quite beats authentic Italian food and a Pepsi. Indulge your taste buds and experience all the flavor of Italy right here in Tallahassee. Visit Urban Food Market today, located in the center of Tallahassee. Urban Food Market, proud to serve Pepsi.
Charlie is all over the place. He's so unorganized. How do I get him to be more responsible with his academics? I've tried everything.
Hi, I'm Lance Davis. Let Engaged Academics help your child learn how to work through these common issues. Visit engagedacademics.org for more information. That's engagedacademics.org.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Last night, if you're a Yankees fan, you are very pleased with Joe Girardi. As angry as you were with Luis Severino was as happy as you were with Joe Girardi, recognizing he didn't have it. It's time to yoke his ass out of the game. 29 pitches in a winner-take-all piece. Go have a seat, young man. And that could happen. He's 23. You know, it's what you don't know. How are they going to respond in a game like that at Yankee Stadium? Got to imagine it's overwhelming. For some people, it elevates their game. For others, they shrivel up. And that's what happened to him. He could not find the strike zone. And what he did find in the strike zone was up and flat and very hittable. So, you know, you don't end up getting – you don't get one – by the way, did you know this? I was looking at those numbers and those 29 pitches, and I'm always trying to think along with a manager. That's the fun of baseball. When do you do it? It's a different feel than in a regular season game, obviously. So when is the right moment to say, I can't risk anymore. This is getting away from us in the first inning, and I'm not going to lose the game right here. And you gotta consider a lot of factors, and one of them would obviously be, are these nerves? Can he calm down? Does he have his good stuff? He's just missing high right now because he's nervous. We can say something to calm him down. Is it mechanics? Whatever it might be. Of the 29 pitches he threw, not one drew a swing and a miss.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a pretty good indication that we've got a problem.
It was the same story in the bottom of the first, too. There weren't a whole lot of swings and misses. And Santana's his breaking stuff, they're spitting on it. He's really not locating it unless it's middle, and it's hung.
I don't know. It's interesting. I never pitched, and so I don't know if when you're nervous or adrenaline is factoring into pitching, does it affect the breaking ball more than it does other pitches? I would think it would stand to reason that it would, but I don't know. I don't want to pretend that I know that. I have no idea. But, with Severino, I talked about him not being able to get a swing and a miss. He couldn't throw a slider to save his life, and they were talking about how he's got such a nasty slider, and it was right over the heart. And then you mentioned Santana's breaking balls, so he had to come in with fastballs. And when they did, guys are sitting on him. These are good players. Didi Gregorius is a good player, and you get to a full count, we got action, and he tried to throw that fastball, and he didn't get it away far enough, and crushed.
I watched the bulk, I'd say, of the first 4 or 5 innings, like the action innings in this game.
Yeah, I did too.
I was talking with some folks that came up to the 7th Hill Tap Room for, the Man Cave show. Thanks to everybody who did. But from, the bulk of what I was watching, it's that the secondary pitches weren't doing anything.
No,
right?
Well, so now you're in trouble because in that park, it's easy enough to hit a home run,
right? But
and they're sitting on fastballs, and it's all you got.
But the thing is, at 3-2, the hard part is you can't give in with a fastball there.
You gotta
because
walk.
They know you got to walk a guy. A walk actually isn't a bad. It's not the worst thing in the world in Yankee Stadium. Listen, nothing's good in that park. Nothing's good.
It's
any contact, you're at risk. I mean, serious.
That's
risk.
why the Yankees bullpen is so important because there's a lot of swing and miss stuff coming out of that pen. I mean, dominant stuff. And right off the bat, Chad Green comes in and says, get it. I mean, he strands 2 guys, second and third.
Well, it's building a roster to your park. If you're in San Diego, fly ball pitcher's no problem.
But that's easier said than done. I'd love to go find 8 guys that throw 98 or more, and, you get a lot of swing and miss. I mean, that's tough to do. The bullpen pitched 8 2/3 and gave up 1 run. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, they couldn't put the balls in play. You allow 2 home runs to your first 4 hitters. That's going to be a problem.
First one was legit. I mean, that was to a deep part of the ballpark.
And there's like very little deep parts of that park.
Yeah.
But you don't draw a swinging strike, and this is a pitcher who draws a swinging strike once every 8 pitches. So right off the bat, if you're Girardi, you're going, well, he doesn't have it. And he makes the move, and it's the right move. And, if you think about, you listen to the various advanced metric guys that have a platform and do a good job with it. They talk at length about changing the old guard's mindset. Where the leverage is in a baseball game is not always the 9th inning. And, a year ago, Buck Showalter did a bunch of stupid stuff and may have cost his team the game because he was waiting to use his most effective pitcher until it was a save situation. And the thought being, Buck, what if you don't get into a save situation? You kind of got to get the outs right now, my man. And that has changed. You saw it with Cleveland last year, and Tito did such a good job of managing that team. He almost managed them to a World Series win over a vastly superior team because the managing or the mismanaging of the bullpen last year for the Cubs led to a pretty desperate situation. Now, they escaped it and won in extra innings, and it all worked out. But and that's from a good manager. It was shocking to see Joe make those kinds of mistakes. But anyhow, Girardi did a great job last night in understanding that the leverage is now. I got to get the outs now. And then whatever happens, I got a deep bullpen, and it's survive and advance this one game. If I got to pitch a bum in game 1, we could lose 12-0. What do I care? I mean, I've got to be in that round for it to matter.
Yeah, if you've scouted, advanced scouted, and said, I got 4 or 5 plays I love for this game, you're an offensive play caller. I got 4 or 5 plays I know with reasonable certainty.
We're going to hit on this.
As long as we block it up, we'll be fine. Not here. But, and you're down 10-0.
Not currently, Tom.
We
are currently unable.
And I hear myself doing that in the Alabama game. They were a bright spot, so it's in them. But you're down 10-0 in the first quarter. I can't save that.
Time to break out those
fourth
plays,
quarter.
my man. We got to keep this thing
We
close.
need a touchdown. The crowd's going crazy. It's 10-0. We might need a touchdown now to neutralize the momentum of the game. I totally agree. But again, this is anecdotal, but in watching, 15, 20 years of power pitching, I mean, really, with the velocities going way up.
Yeah.
You know it as well as anybody. The analysts say that if you have a power slider and you're amped up, it's going to flatten out. I mean, the former pitchers who are in the booth are always
they'll
talking
talk about that. Yeah.
If you have a two-seam, it's going to flatten out. It's not going to dip. It's going to run out wide. So it stays in the hitting zone longer.
But you can play with that. You can understand it and use it.
Sure.
But yeah, it's well, and you could see it. His eyes as soon as you give up a home run right off the bat. I mean, that'll shake you. And then
it did clearly.
Oh, well, I don't know how it wouldn't because that atmosphere was amazing. I keep harking back on that. It was so good for baseball. And, listen, I'm not a Yankees fan, and you guys know that if you listen over the years. But there's no doubt when the Yankees are good and they make the postseason and you get that atmosphere and that's on display in prime time, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for baseball. And when Gregorius hit that home run, my kids were up. They were going to bed. And I paused it and said, come in here and look at this. Because I wanted them to see that baseball wasn't what it is every night that they come home and Dad throws it on a Tuesday to watch the Pirates lose 4-1 to the Reds or something, where it's just subdued. I like that. But little kids, they want, they need the eye candy. We sat there and watched that home run, and then the way Gregorius celebrated that home run, as jacked as you could be, and the huge high fives coming in. Clark's eyes were wide as saucers. Loved it. I'm about to cough. Go to break. Here you go.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra Emax 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Drafts, $2.75 domestic bottles, and $4 Jaeger bombs. No weekend would be complete without Bubbles and Brunch. From 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., get all the mimosas and Bloody Marys you can drink and a breakfast for $18.99. Can you say Uber? Knowles, Bucks, Jags, or Finns, no matter who your favorite team is, take it to 2033 North Monroe Street and watch them at Tallahassee's favorite football hangout, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill.
Contact your local CenturyLink retail store to enter for a chance to win the CenturyLink Ultimate Football Fan Experience, which includes a trip to the biggest game of the year. For eligibility and official rules, go to CenturyLinkFanForLife.com/FAQ. CenturyLink, your link to what's next.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 850-702-0894. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 850-702-0894.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he wants it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left.
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
There's never been a better time to join the exciting and historic Tallahassee Quarterback Club. Help support our local high school athletes and listen to nationally renowned and Hall of Fame coaches and players, enjoy incredible meals at the University Center Club, and have a whole lot of fun. Don't miss their next dinner event on October 10th featuring legendary coach Bobby Bowden. Get your tickets now online at TallahasseeQBClub.com. That's TallahasseeQBClub.com.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Hey, this is Clay Culpepper with Miller's Tree Service. Summertime is here and storm season is right around the corner. We offer free consultations with a certified arborist where we meet with you and advise you on which trees are healthy, diseased, dead, or ones that may need trimming or even removal.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Give us a call at 894-TREE.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. At this hour, a pair of NL West rivals meet up in the NL wildcard game as the Diamondbacks welcome the Rockies, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio. Zach Greinke, John Gray. Plenty of power in both lineups, so don't be surprised if it's a high-scoring game, says ESPN's Jessica Mendoza.
You can go through the Diamondbacks, with Paul Goldschmidt, Jake Lamb, and A.J. Pollock, and obviously J.D. Martinez and the ridiculous month that he has had. And then you flip it on over Charlie Blackmon, Nolan Arenado, DJ LeMahieu. There's so many hitters in that game.
Jessica Mendoza on the Baseball Tonight podcast. NFL Colts quarterback Andrew Luck set to do limited work in today's practice. He won't practice tomorrow, then will practice again Friday. He's been out recovering from shoulder surgery. Luck will not play on Sunday. Steelers receiver Antonio Brown apologizing on Twitter for the noise and distractions to the team because of his sideline antics on Sunday. Opening night in the NHL, Penguins will raise their 5th Stanley Cup championship banner before hosting the Blues. LA and Minnesota, winner-take-all Game 5 of the WNBA Finals, 8 Eastern, ESPN TV.
Brought to you by JCPenney. Guys, get to JCPenney today for Levi's lowest prices of the season, like 505 regular fit and 501 original fit for $36.99 each. And check out our new big and tall shop inside the men's store at JCPenney. That's getting your pennies worth. JCPenney.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
On 97.9 ESPN Radio. If Miami doesn't win this year, at Jay Cameron Show might as well get the Bohica ready. Not giving them any hope down in Miami next year, Joey. Well, Florida State loses an awful lot after this year on defense. That's the other reason for the heightened expectations and the need to have a great year, because you're losing a lot.
Should Florida State win on Saturday, though, and should the game be, on time and everything, there is something that we do have to offer to the social media world, that relates to the Bohica. We can't share it right now.
No, we can't. We did that today. That was good. I sent. Well, you've seen pieces of this. I sent a tweet out to Tom this morning. Did one of those things with the eyes open at 5 a.m., began to peruse the world to see what was out there, and just before checking the news, thinking, please don't allow me to wake up to another horrific story, which is what's happened, a lot lately. And there was nothing horrific, but rather one of the first things I saw was absolutely a great way to start the day.
Don't go and look at it. People don't spoil it, because if it happens, then you got yourself an all-timer. It's going to be a lot of fun. But,
well, we can play with that. We can have a lot of fun with that. That's he's a fun guy. And apparently one of the players on tour that everybody enjoys spending time with.
How do you feel? How's your confidence level today? I haven't asked you that yet. It's 4:41 p.m.
Yeah, better. I think we're up to about a 4.5.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, just marginally better. I don't know that I can go beyond a 5. I mean, you have to make allowances for the fact that the team hasn't played well. You can't ignore that. You can also make allowances for the fact that they might play very, very well for the first time this year against an arch rival. You know, you're kind of depending right now on pride. Kicking in a rivalry game. Guys who've played with a lot of these guys, certainly played against schools that they went to and in areas that they're from in South Florida. A lot of these teams, both these teams, you see a large contingent of their players coming from that area of the state. So they're all well aware of each other and the talent and everything else. And, yeah, that's the part of the rivalry that gets brought up every year, but is so true. That's the other reason that, by the way, the players tend to have much more respect for each other than the fans do. You know, the players, a lot of them love a lot of these guys. You know, I mean, I don't know who knows who. I mean, we could go back and look at, but you know, Matthew Thomas might be very well good friends with Malik Rozier or Mark Walton or something. You know, you got to go and look and see, you know, what parts of the state they're from and what high schools they went to. But that is often the case, obviously, in the in-state rivalries. So the players themselves like each other, respect each other, but want to kick the hell out of each other for the very reason that they want bragging rights within the state. Now, the fans, it gets a little, you know, the animosity gets driven up. But, yeah, I would think that would kick in your pride, your need to – and you don't want to be the one. You know, you're on a 7-game win streak here. Don't be the team that's responsible for ending the longest run in series history. You know, Florida State's won 7 in a row. That's tied for the longest winning streak over the Hurricanes in program history, and for the longest winning streak for either team in the rivalry. So you have a chance to eclipse it, and you have a chance to not only set a new streak, but tie the all-time series record. There's a lot at stake in this game. You get it dead even for its history, and you now own the record for most consecutive wins in the series.
I think one note for
with a win.
Emotions this weekend would be that James Blackman, you know, is a true freshman quarterback who wears his emotions on his sleeves, but he went to Glade Central. So here's a game that means an awful lot to him. I mean, you think about the quarterbacks that we've had participate in this rivalry of late, you know, going back to even E.J. Manuel. You know, he's from the Mid-Atlantic, and then Jameis Winston is from Alabama. They learn about the rivalry when they get here.
But they weren't of the rivalry, because of their youth or something.
McGuire's from New York. I don't know, wherever.
New Jersey,
from,
right?
Or New Jersey, New York area, sorry. He's a Mets fan. Good guy. But then you have this kid now here who's a true freshman, and in his first home start, I mean, even when he hits the touchdown pass and a couple of big plays last week, he wears his heart on his sleeve if he has the opportunity to make a play and show you his heart. Well, here's a game where you're not just, you know, trying to manage a true freshman in a situation that's a normal game. Here's a game that means a lot to him, playing a lot of people that he knows and loves from his childhood, and they compete like hell down there in high school. So, you know, another thing for Jimbo to consider. If they can block it up and protect him, you still have to monitor very closely what your quarterback is like.
It's going to be important to run him. I think you got to run him. I really do. I think you got to get, and I'm not talking about excessively, I think you got to present it as an option. I think you got to let the Miami defense understand that he might be a threat to run the football and make him play you honest. Have that element be part of your game. Make him defend all, you know, the 11. And so I wonder if we'll see it, because he's a capable runner. And you know, DeAndre was a very good runner, whereas James is just a capable runner. But that's all he needs to be to present it, so that Miami has to defend it and keep him honest. And so I'd like to see that happen. For starters, I do get a feeling, and I've said this on Monday, even when we were negative about what we just saw against Wake Forest, and the frustration of that game that carried over on into Tuesday even. But part of the the light at the end of the tunnel, part of the glimmer of hope, was that Jimbo calls a good game against Miami. He just does most years. There's always something lying in wait. And he's had some great – well, he's undefeated against him, obviously. But he's had some of his shining moments in this rivalry as a play caller. And, Miami does not present anything unique. They don't run a form of defense that trips Jimbo up per se, and it's not, gimmicky what they do. I kind of admire that. They're straightforward, and Jimbo likes that, and he calls good games against that, and he understands how to defend it and everything else. So I do think you'll get a better version of Jimbo this week. I don't think he was very good last week, and I don't think he was very good against NC State. He hasn't had a good year. And, that's not to say he's terrible. He's been a very good play caller in his time here at Florida State. He's had any number of successes, obviously. But he hasn't been on his A game, and there have been a lot of reasons for that. That's fine, some of which are valid. But I think he would admit he has said it. So I'm not saying anything he hasn't said himself. I've got to do better, quote, unquote. So he knows he hasn't been as good as he can be. And I go back to something I said in hour number one. I think the reason for that is there are a lot of other fires he's putting out, a lot of other problems. And so he's not allowed to be the best version of Jimbo Fisher, the play caller, as he can be, because the head coach is having to fix problems that lie elsewhere with different segments. He hasn't been able, in my opinion, to be able to delegate, I can't even hardly talk, forgive me, the way that you would want to, where you can relax and get into a rhythm, because you're too worried and too busy putting out fires with your offensive line, with your special teams, or with your defense. And you've had problems that are different each game. And, you'd like for that not to be the case here, where he could relax and be the guy that really gets in it and is able to get that rhythm. We've all seen rhythm play callers. We've all seen guys who are former quarterbacks who get that way. Up close and personal, Tom, we got to watch Chucky do that. We got to watch Gruden, a former quarterback himself, and a play caller that when he got right, you were in trouble. When he discovered something and got into a rhythm, it was beautiful. It was like a ballet. You just knew it was boxing. It was glorious to watch. Jimbo hasn't been in that place a single time this year.
But it doesn't explain away what happened this past weekend. Because the offensive line at the end of the day needs to block.
Well, they got to block.
And
you can't get into a
chance.
rhythm. No, that's my point.
But my point would be, isn't there something to the fact that Wake Forest has always been a problem for Coach, and matchups are problems, and those things tend to mean more than they do. Like for example, Boston College and Clemson.
Yeah,
given the context of the game,
sure,
and given what Adazio is trying to do, what Clemson's trying to do, the matchup, the timing of the matchup
keep the ball
matters.
away from you and all that. Yeah. Styles make fights, man. I got you.
Yeah, Clemson is a bad matchup for Alabama when they're facing each other back-to-back years. That's the style of offense that you typically need to play if you want to have success.
They're especially
Alabama.
a bad matchup if Deshaun Watson's running the offense, but I agree. Yeah.
Exactly right. But that type of offense has had the most success over Alabama's defense. Well, for whatever reason, Wake has posed all types of problems for us. I mean, you're scoring 16, 24 points in the last two seasons prior to this game, where you score a late touchdown to win it. But they've posed all kinds of issues for Jimbo, no matter when they are on the schedule, no matter how much time he has to prepare for Wake.
Well, they're very, very disciplined in what they do, and they really don't come out of it. They don't really. You have to execute. Got to make plays and drive the ball down the field. Unless you have a player like Dalvin who makes a guy, he breaks a tackle, makes a guy miss, and goes 90. It's going to be kind of a lethargic, methodical way to get the ball down the field.
The one difference here for this year is that typically we didn't run the ball very well. But if you look at it on balance, if you want to talk about just the rushing attack, they did fine. There was just no passing attack to go with it. But they did fine in generating rushing yardage.
Yeah, but there were also way too many plays in which they got tackled in the backfield, and many of those were on running plays. So it was feast or famine. They would have success. You'd rattle off a chunk of yards. I'm not even talking about the huge run down on their own goal line. I'm talking about 12 yards, 8 yards, 9 yards, those kind. Or guys in the backfield, 2nd and 12. And, it was feast or famine. They've got to get out of that. Not everything has to be boom or bust.
Well, I think the hard part, too, in trying to figure it all out, and you're right, that coach hasn't been really on that roll this season. I thought he had a really good first half against Alabama. The one series where they had the 9-yard punt or whatever it was, that was questionable, really. But other than that, I thought he called a brilliant half against Alabama. And obviously, you walk away with 7 points.
You talking about the first half?
First half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in the second half.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, but
yeah. No, you're right.
It's been there. I thought,
No, the scripted plays were good.
The fourth down play was a good play.
RPO, his quarterback missed.
If the quarterback hits the back line of the end zone when there should be pass interference called, that's a touchdown. You're up 14-10 at the break.
Yeah, I don't disagree. The first half of Alabama was good.
So you could have been walking out of there with 17, 21 points the way the coach called the game. But I think it's never one thing by itself. The offensive line obviously failed you miserably this weekend. We've talked about that for 3 days now. But at the same time, he doesn't really scheme it up well against Wake. There's something they do that doesn't fit our offense very well. Miami, on the other hand, runs something a little bit more traditional. I think that's something that he'll deal with better if the foundation is there, if the trenches give you a fair chance.
Well, and that is the biggest aspect of this game. That's true of most games in football. If you can win the line of scrimmage, you got a chance to run whatever the hell you want to run. But the truth is, with Miami coming in here as one of the leaders in the country in tackles for loss, and your offensive line looking like it looked a week ago or just on Saturday, you're scared to death going into this game. And, it's weird to say, but I'm almost certain they won't look that bad again. I mean, you can't look any worse than they look there. You can't look any worse. Literally, you cannot be any worse off than they were on Saturday. That was pathetic. And it's what led to Jimbo's, freaking out on the sidelines. And you can't be that bad. You just can't be that bad. I don't know how you could, right? I mean, good Lord.
That's where we're left, though, is if they are, well, then you've got no chance. You've got hardly a chance in most of your games. But we know that's not the case. These are ebb and flows. This offensive line has shown
every game unto
enough.
itself, man. Every game unto itself. You saw the offensive line play well against Alabama and then turn around and play well for a half against NC State. It began to fall apart in the second half of that game. It was terrible against Wake. They better find a way to return to form, something resembling the first half of NC State or the first half certainly against Alabama. Something like that, you've got a fighting chance. And I think they have, more than that. They got a fighting chance. But it's not just our negative impressions of this team that has led to this moment. I mean, obviously Vegas doesn't have, really a dog in the fight. And here they have Miami favored rolling into Tallahassee. And Miami hasn't won this rivalry in 8 years. I mean, good Lord.
I think the good news is, though, that for all the doom and gloom, you know how talented this team is? You know how much potential this team has? The number's 3. I mean, the number's 3. This is still for Vegas, and it moved.
Yeah.
But for Vegas, they're saying they've got issues, but they've got plenty of talent. This is not a Miami by 10 thing.
That's exactly what Vegas is doing. They're going, look, I get it, guys. Doesn't look good, but Florida State's more talented. I can't just give you, 8. I mean, what do you want me to do here? What if they play well?
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra Emax 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind, tough like a soldier on the front line. gets rough, like my poor truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
GMCCadillac.com.
You can always count on the crisp, refreshing taste of Bud Light, just like you can always count on reliable Ralph. Ask him to move that couch he moved for you last summer. Ralph will do it. Need a ride from the dentist? Better call Ralph. And he won't even film you after the laughing gas and put you online and get millions of views. He's Reliable Ralph, for Pete's sake. Reliable Ralph is famous among friends. He deserves a Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB St. Louis, Missouri.
Your roof, protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, this is Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. No one besides us wants to hear that you need a new roof. It's one of the biggest home improvements you have to make, and Parker Brothers Roofing understands. We now offer financing for 0% over 60 months. Yes, that's 5 years. Call us today for 5 years interest-free financing on that new roof. 656-8112. That's 656-8112, or go to parkerbrothersroofing.net.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
And now, a Sport Clips well-played moment.
Gentlemen, as you sit in your car or on your stationary bicycle to victory, what do you ponder? Do you think about the fantasy trade your soon-to-be ex-best friend denied? That speech you rehearsed in the shower to confront the loud chewer at your office? Or have you forgotten what you think about? Fear not, because we have a lot on our minds, which includes a head of hair that must be maintained. Sport Clips Haircuts knows this, which is exactly why they created the ultimate haircut place for men who have other things to think about. A great MVP haircut experience with a hot steam towel, massaging shampoo, and sweet, sweet sports on TV. Everything you need for the hair on your head and face with little thought, planning, or preparation. Watch sports, feel great, problem solved. Then when it's done, look in the mirror and say to yourself, well played, sir. Well played.
Sport Clips Haircuts. Find a location near you at sportclips.com.
Can't decide between fresh steak, seafood, or wings? Well, Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway has it all. From center-cut sirloin and original pastas to fresh salads and favorites like Miller's Signature Zingers, tossed in your favorite sauce. Miller's Ale House has a full-service bar featuring more than 75 beers, plus wine and liquors. Bring the family to watch the big game inside or on their covered patio on one of over 60 HD TVs. However you come to relax, you will have a good time and great food at Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway.
Football season is in full swing, and so is AAA One Transmission. AAA One Transmission is locally owned and operated by Tim Pridgett, who's been servicing the Tallahassee area for over 37 years. Brakes, transmissions, electrical systems, tune-ups, and battery checks. No matter what ails your vehicle, AAA One Transmission can make your automobile healthy again. Don't put off your auto repairs. Stop it at 1023 North Monroe Street or call them at 222-2532.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. At this hour, a pair of NL West rivals meet up in the NL wildcard game as the Diamondbacks welcome the Rockies, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio. Zach Greinke, John Gray. Plenty of power in both lineups, so don't be surprised if it's a high-scoring game, says ESPN's Jessica Mendoza.
You can go through the Diamondbacks, with Paul Goldschmidt, Jake Lamb, and A.J. Pollock, and obviously J.D. Martinez and the ridiculous month that he has had. And then you flip it on over Charlie Blackmon, Nolan Arenado, DJ LeMahieu. There's so many hitters in that game.
Jessica Mendoza on the Baseball Tonight podcast. NFL Colts quarterback Andrew Luck set to do limited work in today's practice. He won't practice tomorrow, then will practice again Friday. He's been out recovering from shoulder surgery. Luck will not play on Sunday. Steelers receiver Antonio Brown apologizing on Twitter for the noise and distractions to the team because of his sideline antics on Sunday. Opening night in the NHL, Penguins will raise their 5th Stanley Cup championship banner before hosting the Blues. LA and Minnesota, winner-take-all Game 5 of the WNBA Finals, 8 Eastern, ESPN TV.
Brought to you by JCPenney. Guys, get to JCPenney today for Levi's lowest prices of the season, like 505 regular fit and 501 original fit for $36.99 each. And check out our new big and tall shop inside the men's store at JCPenney. That's getting your pennies worth. JCPenney.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
The Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything, but if you do, know that all 3 hours going to be posted both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. That's a good thing. JCS at 979ESPNradio.com for the email. On Twitter, it's at J Cameron Show. The WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. All of them. It works fine. That's a good way to listen to the program. If you're out of the car, not listening on the radio, not streaming on your computer, there you go. Also, we're on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. Happy Balls McWednesday, everybody. Yeah. How you doing? Gonna be all right?
Is it going to be all right? I think that's what people are asking.
Is it going to be all right?
Is it going to be all right, Jeff?
Is everybody going to be okay? Well, we'll know a lot more after Saturday, won't we? I feel like this is a good way to kind of resolve all of our deal, right? This is it right here. This you win this game, there's hope left in the season. You lose it, there's not. There it is. I really think this is the rubber meeting the road, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, for the season.
Yeah, for the season. Yeah. This
not
is
the
it.
program or anything like that.
No.
Season.
No. This for the season. This is where the rubber meets the road. You lose this game. Thanks for playing this year. Season's lost. We'll still watch. We'll still go. Whatever. That's about how we'll feel about it.
Right, because you're still the most optimistic. Probably are still doing the math, saying, "Hey, it's possible.
We control our own destiny,
right.
Man."
NC State slips up. I mean, they play Louisville tomorrow night, don't they?
They do.
Slip up there, lose to Clemson. There we go, man. Door is open.
Tomorrow night is a night, buddy. I mean, my goodness, we should all just take the day off. I mean, from work and everything, all of us should get together and sit back and watch Louisville, NC State / Bucks Patriots.
Spoiler alert, we were going to before we got the schedule moved. There was going to be a nice little Thursday night.
Thanks for reminding me of how we got screwed by the storm, my man. Yeah, that was going to be awesome. Now, not as much. Well, you guys want to take the day off tomorrow? All of you? Let's all get together. Maybe have a cold one.
There's a government holiday, a federal holiday. There's a Jeff Cameron Show listener holiday.
Well, I can declare it just like I do Cat 5s. Maybe we'll all take tomorrow off and we'll watch NC State Louisville, and then we'll turn right around simultaneous. And we'll watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New England Patriots. I'm all in. If you guys would like to take the day off, why don't we do it? Let's go, have fun, enjoy the games. Okay, so your bosses won't let you do it? I'm kind of my own boss. I could do it, but that's going to be frowned upon. That might not allow me the time later in the year.
I'm sorry, sir. As the program director of this station, I have to say you're not allowed to do that, sir.
It would be fun, and we could get away with it, Tom. But we won't tell our bosses
that the games kick off after work's over.
Yeah. So why did you? Oh, we had to organize it. It was just a big community outing. We had to organize.
There was the lunch thing and then the tailgate thing.
Let's throw in, hey, listen, I'm good with this anyhow. Let's throw in a charitable aspect. Let's, in addition to getting together for a cold brewski and the watching of two games that certainly present themselves as intriguing. We'll collect perhaps clothes for the needy.
You're getting really in depth on this.
I'm really thinking it through, aren't I? Like there are ways to do this, Tom, where we, in celebration of people helping people at a time when all of us need to see some good in the world, we get together and provide that good together. And then we watch football over a cold one.
Well, after normal business hours are over.
But we start at noon.
In the middle of the workday.
That's how we do this. That's how everybody goes, I'm in. I'll do it. Let's do that. I like where your head's at, Cameron. John wants to know weather. I'm about to get into weather. I want to ask you about something here in a minute regarding weather. But John is talking about neutral site. Man, they're not moving this game. Let's not worry about it. Not going to happen. It'll.
Well, that's a hopeful statement right there, but they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
There was hope in your voice, not like, I don't definitively know what the athletic department's saying. They're not moving. That's not.
No, I haven't been told that. No, I have not been told that. David writes, at Jay Cameron Show, 6-pack bet on the Pats-Bucks game tomorrow. Sure, David. I will take you on there with that wager.
Is there a line here? Is there some points being exchanged?
I actually don't know. What is the Vegas line between the Bucks? And here's the deal. And if you're a regular listener of the Scuttlebucks podcast that Tom Lang and myself do, wildly popular amongst Buccaneer fans and really just people who are fond of entertainment, you'll note that that we talk at length today about the Bucks and Patriots matchup. Go to iTunes and find the Scuttlebucks.
That's right.
You'll enjoy it. It's good.
Now on Google Play, too. The number is New England -6.
Holy moly. If that's just not dropping the pants right in front of your face here, that is wrong. New England by 6?
New England -6 on the road at Tampa Bay.
Blatant disrespect. For a Patriots team, by the way, that can't stop you from scoring, that's what we're going with?
I have to say, though, as I did on the Scuttlebucks, those offenses that scored and went up and down the field and saw breakdowns for the Patriots do a lot of eye discipline stuff. The Patriots don't seem to like the eye candy. They get fooled. They get lost in the wash. But Tampa runs stuff that's more straight ahead right at you. So, listen, they're going to have breakdowns, but breakdowns to the tune of Tampa scoring 30-plus points easily, I'm not so sure about that.
No, not easily, and it is hard, certainly, to bet against Tom Brady moving the ball against anybody. His numbers are already remarkable this year. He's thrown for basically 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions. It's ridiculous. This guy's 104 years old and, looks better now than he did 8 years ago. It's crazy.
Well, and you need your linebackers and safeties in coverage this week against all the slot people.
And they're all out, Tom. They're all out. So that's not good. TJ Ward appears to be out. Levante David at linebacker is out. Quan Alexander at linebacker out. Yeah, the Bucs already can't generate a pass rush. I'm going to lose this bet. I got you. This is just pride kicking in.
Take the 6 points, though.
Well, I will, but, I don't think it's going to be enough unless this game ends 41-38 or something like that, which is a distinct possibility. They might. Jameis is coming off another great game, one in which, if you're a franchise quarterback, you got to be able to engineer drives like that when your team needs it most and the game on the line while you trail in the fourth quarter in a got-to-have-it situation. Down the stretch, Jameis goes 5 for 5. For the game, he ends up throwing for 330-plus yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He was simply brilliant, and he put the Bucs in a position to win the game, and they did. It was a very big win because at 2-1 now, you can afford a loss, and not that you want it, but you can afford it, and you'll only fall to 500. The NFC South is in a position currently where no team is under 500, and that includes the Saints, who started the year 0-2, now 2-2, and seem to be finding a defense, which is really disconcerting given the fact that you always knew they could move the football. What really is impressive is what Carolina's been able to do. Cam Newton has been simply terrible. One of the worst quarterbacks in the league this year prior to this past game where he really lit it up and had his first good game of the year. Prior to that, he was missing wide open guys at a quarterback rating in the 20s, looked like he couldn't play. And yet that defense was so good, and the schedule worked out nicely, and they were winning games. Well, that's important because if he's starting to get to feel better and that shoulder is getting into game shape, if you will, because he missed so much time, and he starts to be the Cam that's reasonably close to the guy from a couple of years ago, well, then they're in good shape because they're 3-1, and they've been able to overcome injury and win games with defense. And, of course, Atlanta's good. coming off a loss against Buffalo, fine, but that's a good football team. They're going to be consistently solid. So keeping pace is paramount here, and, at 2-1, you're all right. They had to have that win. That's what a franchise quarterback should do. He got it. Probably not going to beat the Patriots.
Probably not. Remarking on Cam's performance in that game, because I watched the Carolina Patriots game twice just to look at what New England brings to the table.
I like that work ethic right there.
Well, yeah. Well, you gotta know what you're talking about. At least know what you saw. And Cam is looking comfortable, not just from the pocket, but he's looking comfortable enough to turn himself loose and run the ball again. Not just on design runs, which they called a couple of them, but on scramble
really
plays.
Careful if I were Carolina with that. Yeah, you want the presence and the threat of him doing what he does with his legs, but buddy, that's a guy that's really started to have the injuries mount in. This league, even for a body type like that, which may be, just for what it is, the best body I've ever seen in the league. And I don't, listen, we're grown-ups here. Nobody looks like that. He's a linebacker. He's massive. He inflicts more damage when he's running than they do to him. But even a guy looking like that, a Greek god, gets worn down getting hit in that league. I mean, I don't care how strong you are, what you are. You get beat up like that, eventually it's the end of your career.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, but I'm talking about, confidence. And clearly he has it. And if he has it, well, listen, maybe next year won't be a good year for him because the wear and tear will just build up. But for the here and now, it was a complete flip of the switch. Because the way that game started out, it's 3-3, and he throws an awful interception. He just gives up, essentially, and throws it into double coverage. That looked like the mental moments that he's had for most of his career, and then he picks himself up in the key moments that he says, you know what, it's time to turn it loose and come what may. And that devil-may-care attitude, you saw some seeds over the middle of the field into tight windows.
When he's like that, you're in deep, deep trouble. I agree with you. Let's hope that's not a harbinger of things to come. Let's hope that he goes back to looking completely lost and clueless and missing guys by 30 yards as he did in the first 3 games.
That's why if you're a Tampa fan, you need to steal a win in a game that you don't expect to win. And certainly being a 6-point underdog tomorrow night, Vegas doesn't think you should win. So go steal one tomorrow, and then you've got yourself some house money. The Bills are better than you think. The Lions, couple games against the Panthers, now don't look as...
But you can't do this. You can't. I mean, I know what you're doing, and I agree with you because I do the same thing. I sit there and I go, well, I don't know. No, every week, some sorry-ass team beats a really good team, and some really good team loses to somebody they have no business losing to off an extended rest or something. It's just nuts what happens in that league. So I'm not going to do it. I agree with the Patriots a little different because they're the Patriots. But, I mean, I like that you got the extra rest before you play Arizona, but I'm also not going to assume a win there just because the league. Let's get this question in. Fraggernaut writes, at Jay Cameron Show, ESPN has the Lightning 14th in the power index. What? Melrose picked Tampa Bay to win the Cup. Your thoughts? Well, let's do tiers, right? I don't. Let's just do tiers. Pittsburgh, Edmonton, Washington, Chicago. Tampa Bay's in that tier. I'd put Tampa Bay in
Montreal.
that tier. Anaheim, Dallas.
Tampa Bay is a team that can win the Cup. Now, they're doing that based upon last year, I would think. And it's also the ESPN.com Power Index. They don't sink a dollar into what they do in covering the product. That Barry picked the Lightning scares me, personally.
Yeah, because Listen, you just go back to last year's playoffs. I mean, you're going to take what it's Nashville. Did I say them? Edmonton, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Chicago. I'm just naming teams that I think would be in this tier. Anaheim, Dallas. I think Tampa Bay's in that tier, right? I mean, they're there. They're with those teams. It's San Jose. I mean, who else?
It's Anaheim. It's Edmonton in the West to me. Chicago too. Those are the teams that Edmonton they're a machine, and the machine is only growing more efficient and bigger. I think Toronto's doing some nice things in the East. Montreal's good. Pittsburgh's good. Tampa's good. The problem with the Lightning is complacency. Until you show that you can break, it's like Jimbo.
They can't still be complacent. Sweet Jesus.
Well, they're still talking a great game. They've always talked a great game.
Last year just happened. Yeah, but they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals and lost, and they made it to
the East
Finals as well. So they actually achieved something in the years where they were talking there. It's what frustrates you is what happened last year, but they got riddled with injury last year too, and so that's not fair either. You know who's not going to win it? To answer your question. The Vegas Golden Knights are not going to win it. I'll give you that. No chance that they win it. Wow. I'll give you another one. Let's see, one more that's not going to. Vancouver, the Canucks are not going to win. I'll give you one more. They're not going to win it. There you go. Bet on that. That you can go overboard. Guaranteed not going to win it. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest utility vehicles on earth. Like a Mahindra XTV 750S as low as $135 a month. Or get up to $3,450 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 3-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Recruiter's matching technology identifies relevant talent fast. 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within 24 hours. And your ZipRecruiter dashboard helps keep everything in one place, so it's easy to review and rank the candidates with the best experience. You'll be building a powerhouse program in no time. Choose the smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter, official hiring partner of the Florida State Seminoles.
For your free trial, go to ZipRecruiter.com/GoNoles. ZipRecruiter.com/GoNoles. Once again, for a free trial, go to ZipRecruiter.com/GoNoles.
The big game is almost here, but you can't afford to go because ticket prices are through the roof. Don't worry, we got your back. Anytix.com offers you the lowest price tickets, guaranteed. Anytix.com doesn't mark up tickets. Anytix.com has zero. That's right, no buyer, seller, or service fees. For a small monthly fee of $9.99, you get access to all their wholesale tickets. Go to Anytix.com today. That's Anytix, Tixx. Enter the coupon code ESPN Tally and get 20% off your subscription. Anytix.com, changing the way you buy tickets.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 850-702-0894. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 850-702-0894.
Look at that mouth. That poor, parched mouth. So dry. What'd you eat for lunch? Chalk dust? Did your mouth cannonball into a barrel of mothballs? You're being awfully quiet. Is that because your mouth feels like the business end of a Dremel saw? Is it because your mouth just wrote a haiku and all 17 syllables were dry heaves? You're so parched. You know it. I know it. The entire radio knows it. Just admit it. You want a Mountain Dew. Your mouth feels like it just inhaled the insides of a punching bag, and the only remedy is that neon green potion. Right now, your mouth could be tongue bathing in the refreshing citrus kick of Mountain Dew. Instead, it feels like you've been motorboating King Tut's sarcophagus. Show some mercy. Crack open an ice-cold Mountain Dew. You know your mouth wants you to. Do the Dew.
Nothing quite beats authentic Italian food and a Pepsi. Indulge your taste buds and experience all the flavor of Italy right here in Tallahassee. Visit Urban Food Market today, located in the center of Tallahassee. Urban Food Market, proud to serve Pepsi.
You're listening to the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
boy Kevin on it. He can be the unofficial weatherman of the Jeff Cameron Show. We used to have a weather window at the old studios at the old radio station working for the old company. And the only thing I enjoyed at that job, well, I had many good years there. I shouldn't say all that. I'm not going to bring down my previous employer who ruined radio. But what I would tell you is that the studio was fantastic. I loved my studio.
Well, it was spacious.
It was spacious, and I had a window behind me. I once had somebody threaten me because they knew that I had a window behind me. They didn't like my opinion on the radio. They were threatening me, and they knew there was it was crazy because that window, if you recall, that had to be bulletproof. Like that window, remember how thick that window was?
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, at a different sound of something ricocheted off it if you're throwing something in the trash and banking it.
It was crazy.
Well, then you had one also to the parking lot, which would have been the more dangerous window, I think, if somebody came after you.
Yeah, somebody came after me.
No
right.
windows in here, buddy. You're A-okay.
No, I'm A-okay here. Just got the soundproof glass between the two of us. But anyhow, that I did like kind of contemplating the world's events out that window during show prep time during the day. I also had two great speakers in there, and I was always cranking music.
Man.
I would blast it out there. It would go through the board.
Poor AJ.
She just had to wear Cameron's musical taste.
Her office.
She actually didn't mind. We talked about that. And if she was ever having to do some serious work there, then I'd let her know. She could let me know, I should say.
Right.
Yeah. That's all right.
But honestly, if you have a problem with it, too bad. I'm Jeff Cameron. I have the corner studio.
That was my studio, and everybody knew that was my studio. It was glorious. I think it's still my studio. Nobody uses it over there anymore. It's I left, so the station shut down, and now there's just that studio sitting there.
I miss our den, but I like this studio too.
Well, this feels like a more professional studio, but I'm off the beaten path. What I was getting at is this damn storm heading towards us now. I didn't know if your guy, Kevin, who, by the way, this all had to do with the weather window. We used to jokingly say that's how you tell the weather. Just look out there. But now, we need models and all that other stuff. So what's the model here, man? Are we going to be all right? Are we going to move this thing up?
I mean, you could, I guess, if you wanted to. We've been talking back and forth a little bit during the day, but I think this might pull a little bit more west than what we were talking about around 11 o'clock this morning. That's what the models say, at least. But hell if I know, man. The model said that the last storm was going up the east coast of Florida and into the Atlantic Ocean, and then it goes underneath the state and pulls up the left coast.
I got 47 models in front of me, and all of them have this going over Tallahassee, Tom. I don't know what this west pull is that you got looking at. But it doesn't, hey, it looks like the worst of it is Sunday, right? So what happens ahead of time is beautiful weather.
Typically, yes.
Yeah, you might end up getting, that humidity pulled from the air.
Maybe. But, I mean, they've been calling for rain all weekend. Again, man, weather, what the hell do we know? It's like trying to predict which segment of our team is going to play up to par and which one's going to fail you on a week-to-week basis. You just can't know.
Today, they did a breakdown, one of many I've seen this week as we get closer to this game, of what's wrong with Florida State. That's now become a national topic if you're following the college football, Illuminatis. Every site, every talking head, every network that's breaking down the games that would be this Saturday when they get to Florida State, Miami, it starts with, could this be the time, which is always a good thing because that means certainly they're talking about an epic streak of dominance for one team over the other, and in this case, Florida State over Miami. So it is the question mark surrounding, is this the time Miami finally ends the streak? And already it's a little less about Miami ending the streak and Florida State just being incompetent. It's not so much that Miami's anything. It's that, Florida State seems to be stumbling, so maybe Miami can get them. Which, if I'm a Miami fan, would piss me off because maybe Miami's pretty good. I don't think their quarterback is, but maybe the rest of that team's pretty good. And then secondly, it's the opportunity taken in each of those moments, because Lord knows there's no shortage of film, to be able to pull up in the backdrop as they break down the game. Well, here, this is a problem. This is a technique issue. He's blocking the wrong guy. Here he just whiffs, and here he gets physically whipped. And they did that for many plays just last week and the game before against Cincy State as well. And, maybe that directly leads to the players that were offered up this week to the press for Miami week.
The four?
4 players, 2 of which are backups. That was interesting. Here's our backup fullback for you. Get you some of that.
The quarterback has had a weekly appearance. I mean, it was like Jameis 2014 halfway. No, did they make Sean or Everett? No, that Everett wasn't available to the media ever.
No.
Boy, it has been a while since the quarterback really has spoken to the media midweek. They will post-game. Although I don't know what the policy is for James Blackman. He's a true freshman, so do they?
I wouldn't. No, I'd probably hold off on that, I guess, if I were him. I don't know.
Probably going through shell shock in the cool-down period anyway.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting, man. The batten down the hatches and hunker down mentality is not leading to better play. It's not changing your fortunes for the better. You're not seeing this team look as if they're more unified, together, and focused.
Yeah, speaking of hunker down, you'll hear that 100 million times if the storm follows the path towards Tallahassee.
Well, I just, it's weird. It's a little, it leans towards paranoia. And I just don't, and I'm not talking about the storm. I really would love to get to the bottom of what's going on. Maybe it gets fixed. I don't like having to come on and do 3 hours of largely negative perspective towards FSU's football program. It's not something I seek to do, but it's also not something to avoid when the reality of the situation is staring you in the face. I mean, we're not going to insult you by telling you everything's fine when it's not. And for those that want that, then this isn't your show and you shouldn't listen. Save your breath on the email and the tweets and every other dumbass thing you're going to send me. Well, if they're not playing well, I'm going to tell you they're not playing well. If they suck, I'm going to tell you they suck. If they're good, I'll tell you they're really good. And so that's just where we're at. And, I get that several days of that and even the better part of this season being as chopped up as it is, as convoluted as it is, and as frustrating as it is, that can wear on you. I got you. Flip around, man. A lot of options. The point is, I don't know that we could rightfully predict that it's going to get right this weekend. And if it does, I'll be the first to say, thank goodness it got right at just the right time. But it doesn't mean that the things that just happened that led to all this talk that frustrates people didn't happen.
Right, which is why when we had the discussion last week and I said, you could win out and I'd still be mad about the NC State game because it didn't have to happen. It happened for all the wrong reasons. You can lose for the reason that your freshman quarterback saw ghosts and threw 3 picks. 2 of them were taken to the house, and you end up losing by 6-10 points. And you say, well, what can you do? It's what a freshman does.
Right.
But it was the details. It was the things that were supposed to work around the quarterback. It was the talking point that Jimbo said, well, everybody around him is going to have to play better because they need to pick up their teammate here. It was those things that failed. And then last week, I mean, again, they showed it. You're right. We were watching earlier this afternoon. It's a mashup, man. I swear, you watch that film, it's crazy. It's crazy. And the crazy thing is the Alabama game, again, so it's in them to play well. That it's the same group. Left tackle's left tackle, but it's the same group.
I don't know how they played well. I don't know how they played well, offensive line-wise. Given what we've seen the last 2 weeks, I don't know how they played well. I'm serious, that mashup, going back and by the way, the tight ends were terrible in this last game. I mean, awful, awful, awful. I get things change when you lose your starting quarterback, and you might have wanted to rely heavily upon his strengths, his skills, his knowledge, his whatever, experience. That has nothing to do with guys simply not blocking somebody across from them or communications issues. Sometimes it might, but not time and again that we're seeing here. It's really interesting that they're now able to point out both a lack of understanding as to assignment, confusion, technique, and physical. Like putting all of those together in a mashup of the things that went wrong, well, it's one thing if you tell me, hey, listen, a guy got hurt. The guy who came in was not on the same page with the center. And you saw some real mistakes here that led to big-time negative plays and put Florida State in a bad situation. But that's not what we're talking about. That occurred, but we're seeing lots of other things that have to do with experienced players making mistakes that true freshmen make or guys that are being asked to play who have not played before. It's not as easy as that, and I think that's the confounding thing, and that's the frustrating thing, and I think that's why Jimbo blew up. That's why you saw him lose it so early in this game, is that there were some really just egregious mistakes being made that he couldn't abide by.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You think that someone's being heavy-handed when talking about the offensive line. Look at what Coach did.
Oh, he lost it.
On the
he
sidelines.
lost it, yeah.
And I think some of it I think we know the answers. It's just what percentage can you assign to which part, and what's the bulk of the reason to blame, or where is it going for what reasons, if I can say that clearly enough. But some of it's coaching, clearly. Some of it's confidence. I think Jimbo's right when he says it's confidence. They just don't believe that they're good enough. That's what the film shows you. They're confused. So when they go out there confused, they don't have the confidence that where they're supposed to be is where they're supposed to be. Then part of it is they're just not quick enough or strong enough in certain stretches to get the job done. I think it just snowballs on itself. You haven't won a game. I think there's something there, too. I don't think it's the bulk of the percentage. I think it's just a lack of preparation and a lack of communication, and that leads to a lack of confidence. Because Jimbo did talk about we got to get things declared right.
Yeah, well, let me just say this. That's fine. What the hell have you been doing? Okay.
Well, that's the preparation. That's probably the biggest percentage here. But
what have you been doing? What do you do at practice? What do you do in camp? What have you been doing? I can't. It's not an excuse that carries water, man. I'm sorry. That's unacceptable.
Exactly. I'm not saying it carries water. I'm just telling you what it is. Now, the why, yes, the why is the process.
That's
the why involves the process.
Oh, my goodness. A flawed and broken down process indeed. I mean, in your life, have you seen people go out there and just simply not block the guy across from them? I don't mean get whipped. I mean just not block the guy directly in front of you.
I think it's a lack of confidence to the point where they're kind of just stuck. They don't know what to do.
You're talking about people domed up. Man, there's a common sense mentality here. Look, at the end of the day, some things aren't that complicated. There's a man directly across from you. He is going to come at you. You should block him. Now,
if your heart's not in it because you've been beaten. No, but I'm not talking about quitting. I'm talking about if your heart's not in it because you've been beaten down so much. And then let's not mistake it, too. What this offense does and what it asks the offensive line to do is get to certain points, outflank people.
Yes, I know.
And there's a finesse element to it. And there's a timing element to it.
Yeah, but they're not just losing the zone stuff. They're not just losing finesse elements of this. They're losing the straight-up man blocking. They're losing that with technique, false steps, bad angles. They're losing that with man. They're losing every way imaginable. That's the biggest concern. If it were one thing, declared wrong, confusion about what's being asked of you, and it's a young player filling in for an injured player who's experienced, then you can live with these things or you can understand them. When it's all of them, no.
Great example. Deshaun Watson, Thursday Night Football against Cincinnati.
Yeah, didn't get reps. Looked terrible.
But you see what happens to somebody, and I get you. These are different circumstances leading into the game. They have all camp. I got you. But you see what happens when the game's too fast for somebody?
Oh, without question. And I can get how it happens. And I get sometimes why somebody can look so bad whose talent suggests they should never look that bad. On the offensive line, it's a little different. And I know you know that. Than quarterback,
sure.
His head's going to swim a little bit easier given that he has to know where everybody's doing. Man, if I'm a tackle and there's a guy lined up directly across from me and the ball is snapped, I got to block him.
But if you feel ill-prepared before the snap or overwhelmed in the moment, it's not just about that anymore. You're thinking about 8 different things. Lining up, making sure you don't jump off. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just there's what can go wrong rather than what can I do to execute my job. I think that's what it looks like out there. When you're looking at body language, is what can go wrong? What can go wrong here, and how do I prevent that?
I guess the bigger question now is that we've been asking for the better part of 24 hours is as we try to segue from, God, it's hard to believe all this stuff is going wrong and what's at the root of it, to can it be fixed? Can you get right in time to survive and maybe salvage a season, continue a rivalry with a win, which would maybe, again, lead to the salvaging of a season? You might actually find yourself propelled to greater heights than one would think reasonable to suggest on this day after what we've seen. You win this game, you've won 2 in a row, you won 8 straight over Miami at that point, and you go on the road against Duke, a team that Miami throttled 31-6, and you're feeling probably pretty good about yourself. So you're right, winning remedies a lot and helps regain a confidence that seems to be gone, obviously. But my goodness, it is a calamity of errors to the point where now this is the talking point in the discussion of this game. Not about this player being dynamic, that player being somebody you got to watch and stop, this player having a huge impact on the game. Rather, the talking point for the talking heads about Florida State Miami is, A, might Miami finally end a 7-game losing streak, and B, what in the hell is going on at Florida State? Look at this.
Yeah, it's not – well, think about it from the season. Just pull back a little bit and talk about What do you think, if you're a national pundit or somebody who's around here, this season is going to be about? And what do you think people are going to be talking about into October? I grant you the schedule changed, but people this week would say to you, well, we're talking about a team that's on its way to a playoff berth. That's on its way to at least a date with Clemson to determine the ACC Atlantic and a place in the ACC championship game and an opportunity to be at the college football playoff, because that they're coming up as Clemson is reloading a little bit. But here we are talking about something so fundamental as the psychology of an offensive line that looks completely beaten. And if that's beaten, well, then your freshman quarterback has no chance.
Right. And that's the big fear, is that you see a kid with real talent.
But it's not about an offensive line, as we were previewing into the NC State game. It's not about an offensive line that's going to give a freshman quarterback a chance, and let's see how he handles the moment. He's not even the discussion anymore.
No.
James Blackman is not even one of your top 3 bullet point discussions.
No, it's right now the number one discussion is the offensive line. The number 2 discussion has to do with a defense that has a lot of really good players and is playing average, and you feel like should be better, should attack more, should showcase that athleticism, size, and depth and talent. Yeah, I agree.
Then you're talking about coaches. Then you're talking about, I guess, receivers. I mean, he's part of the discussion, but he's not the reason that we're struggling. Not even close.
It gets old. I can't imagine if the train goes off the tracks here, which is a loss to Miami this weekend, and if it plays out, I don't sense that it will. And I will say this: it's funny. I'm not trying to equate the concerns one would have over a storm, a tropical storm hitting Tallahassee, et cetera, and a football game, and how it behooves Florida State to have all of this rain, or doesn't, depending on. But I mean, it looks like they're going to play the game, and we think maybe at worst case scenario it's just a big-time raining, nasty, muddy day. Might that help Florida State? You begin to wonder, right? If you just simplify things, run straight ahead, shorten the game, and try to win a low-scoring contest.
Sure. We talked about this earlier, and I said Jaquez Patrick, 26 carries, 61 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
16 to 12 goals.
There goes 16 to 12.
But straight.
Make no mistake, because what's going to happen is if Florida State wins this game, and say, well, nobody believed it. No.
Oh, they're going to say that.
Florida State has a chance to win this game, more than a punter's chance. They got the better roster. They have the better roster top to bottom, but they haven't played with consistency. If they do, Miami's in for a rude awakening here, and we're all smiling in the fourth quarter saying, when are you ever going to get us? Because if you can't get us this year, good luck next year.
We're also saying on Monday, hallelujah, great to win an 8th straight against Miami, and you can get you some of that, Canes, and all the fun that goes along with it. But what in the hell is what we're saying? I mean, the season started, guys, a while back on the 2nd. So, that's annoying.
But this isn't, we're not presenting this as, and this is the truth of it. It's not they got no chance on Saturday. That's not even close to the truth.
I'm not presenting it as such. I think, again, the weird part about this, and there are plenty who have already said it's over. They're going to lose 5 games this year. The streak is over. Wrap your minds around that, fellas. And there are still others who say, guys, a little over the top. Weird circumstances. I think they're going to play well Saturday, and you'll see they'll gather themselves and get it together. Well, maybe one or the other happens. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's a mashup of both. But when you look at this game, it's bizarre through 3 games that you would think to yourself, and you do, and I know you do, and so do I. And I can't tell. I'm trying to wrestle with this. Do I feel this way because I want to feel this way? Because I want Florida State to win the game? Because I don't want to accept that this thing is in chaos? Meaning, I feel like they'll be in this game in the second half. And I think you think that too. I think we both believe they've got a chance to win this game. And on the surface so far, there really isn't evidence that would lend one to believe that you're going to win this game. There's no real reason to think that they will, and yet I kind of do.
Well, because, and this is the damning part again, back to the original discussion, the potential of this team hasn't really changed all that much.
Yeah, you do have the catastrophic injury to your quarterback, and that's devastating. Beyond that, though, but they're really good up front on the defensive line. They've got talent at the skill positions. You don't know, how consistent throughout the course of a season your freshman quarterback will be, but he has ability too.
And he hasn't been the problem once again. I mean, he's not the reason you lose to NC State. You could have won that game, be 2-1 here, and say, all right, can we get it together? Can this team get it together in time for Miami? It changes the discussion a little bit.
You know what's true? With the bizarre aspects of this season, with another storm approaching us now, with the delay, with the rescheduling of games, the canceling of ULM, just everything we just saw, 7 yards passing at halftime against Wake Forest, etc. If you really wanted to turn everything on its head, Florida State would blow Miami out. I mean, if you really wanted to continue down the path of what in the hell is going on around here, then they'd blow Miami out. Well, not Miami blowing Florida State out. That would actually continue down the path of, oh, my God, this thing's on fire. But if they turn it around and blow Miami out, then everybody's just,
right.
What in the world?
Actually, I was talking about this last night to a listener of the show, which is I wouldn't be stunned at all if Florida State won this game. I wouldn't be stunned if they got blown out. And he said, well, what about if Florida State blew Miami out? Well, that would be stunning.
That would be stunning,
because
right?
then you'd know what it feels like to cover and watch an NFL team. Because that's what happens in the league.
In the league, yeah, you beat the best team in the league one week and you lose to the team in dead-ass last the next. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, you beat the Patriots on one Sunday and lose to the Jets the following Sunday.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's just historically. Oh man, come back, wrap it up momentarily.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra Emax 22 as low as $99 a month. Or get up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Plus, Mahindra's 7-year limited powertrain warranty comes standard.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
We believe in real food. Food that's full of nutrients. Naturally vivid and colorful, fresh and delicious. Food that connects you to your body, to the seasons, and to the natural world. We believe food should nourish you and help you think. It should help you feel calm, clear-headed, and strong. It should help you do more, sleep better, and wake up happier. That's food that lives up to its name. We believe in real food. Whole Foods Market.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
College football programs know the importance of recruiting. If they want to compete at the highest level, they need to bring on the best talent, people who have the skills and drive to be a success. The same is true in business. Recruiting is vital. And with ZipRecruiter, you'll have a smarter and simpler way to assemble your own winning team. With just one click, you can post your job to over 100 job boards. Then ZipRecruiter's matching technology identifies relevant talent fast. 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within 24 hours. And your ZipRecruiter dashboard helps keep everything in one place, so it's easy to review and rank the candidates with the best experience. You'll be building a powerhouse program in no time. Choose the smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter, official hiring partner of the Florida State Seminoles.
For your free trial, go to ZipRecruiter.com/GoNoles. ZipRecruiter.com/GoNoles. Once again, for a free trial, go to ZipRecruiter.com/Go Noles.
Hey, y'all, it's time to go hog wild at the biggest boot sale of the season, happening right now at Boot Barn. Whether you're looking for classic styles, boots with something fun like fringe, or the largest selection of work boots for the job site, now's the time to shop at Boot Barn, where you'll find savings so big you won't have to break the piggy bank. Right now, save up to $50 on thousands of boots and go hog wild for new boots at Boot Barn.
Landowners, Mahindra's inventory clearance sale is going on now. We're reducing prices like never before on the toughest tractors on earth. Like a Mahindra E-Max 22 as low as $99 a month, or up to $8,100 in cash back and savings. Only from Mahindra.
North Florida and South Georgia's authorized Mahindra dealer is TNT Super Center, US 19 South in Thomasville, and at TNTSuperCenter.com.
Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Program restrictions may apply.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. At this hour, a pair of NL West rivals meet up in the NL wildcard game as the Diamondbacks welcome the Rockies, 7:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio. Zach Greinke, John Gray. Plenty of power in both lineups, so don't be surprised if it's a high-scoring game, says ESPN's Jessica Mendoza.
You can go through the Diamondbacks, with Paul Goldschmidt, and Jake Lamb, and A.J. Pollock, and obviously J.D. Martinez and the ridiculous month that he has had. And then you flip it on over Charlie Blackmon, Nolan Arenado, DJ LeMahieu. There's so many hitters in that game.
Jessica Mendoza on the Baseball Tonight podcast. NFL Colts quarterback Andrew Luck set to do limited work in today's practice. He won't practice tomorrow, then will practice again Friday. He's been out recovering from shoulder surgery. Luck will not play on Sunday. Steelers receiver Antonio Brown apologizing on Twitter for the noise and distractions to the team because of his sideline antics on Sunday. Opening night in the NHL, Penguins will raise their 5th Stanley Cup championship banner before hosting the Blues. LA and Minnesota, winner-take-all Game 5 of the WNBA Finals, 8 Eastern, ESPN TV.
Brought to you by JCPenney. Guys, get to JCPenney today for Levi's lowest prices of the season, like 505 regular fit and 501 original fit for $36.99 each. And check out our new big and tall shop inside the men's store at JCPenney. That's getting your pennies worth. JCPenney.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
This ain't the party.
So, Front Row Knowles will be coming up here momentarily. My good friends, Tom Block, Keith Jones, and the great Tim Linnefeld. All next on the Front Row Knowles.
I remember this from last year. I didn't...
they're friends with the play-by-play guy from Miami.
That's Zagacki.
Right.
That's right.
That's correct. I hope they explained to him that Zagacki will be calling an 8th straight loss. He's had plenty of practice talking about them losses.
I think his friends, when they beat him in something, go, Zagacki.
You know what tonight has in store for us? Well, hey, this segues perfectly now, doesn't it, Tom?
Ready for a cold one?
Not yet.
Proof Brewing Company in Railroad Square Art Park presents What's on Tap. So, Jeff, what'll it be?
All kinds of goodness. And normally I would have said yes to that question. And if you're not under the weather, the question might be answered yes for you, too. I got you. Toronto and Winnipeg. The NHL gets underway tonight. St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Calgary, Edmonton, Philadelphia, San Jose. Hey, welcome back, NHL. Also, let's not forget, Major League Baseball action. Yes, Rockies, D-backs, wild card play-in game. There you go. Greinke, Gray, I'll be watching. Can I say this? I do think it was a couple things. We did bring up some of the strategy aspects of this game from last night up on the show earlier today. And I'm always loath to admit when Joe Girardi does something right, but he really managed a hell of a ball game last night. It's made it a little bit easier to do when you've got, arguably, historically speaking, one of the greatest bullpens in the history of baseball to go to them in the first inning. And when your starter can't throw strikes and everything is up. But, to pull Severino, I get it's a winner-take-all. 29 pitches into the game, that'll hurt your feelings. Unless you're going to the guys that they went to, and Chad Green basically saves the game, because I think the whole thing is at 3-0. If it turns to 5-0, we're looking at a different baseball game. But he strikes out the next two hitters, and it's screw you, sets it up. Then you get the 3-run homer in the bottom of the first, level playing field, and now it's a battle of the Yankees' elite bullpen the rest of the night against what Minnesota has left. And as it turns out, the Yankees bullpen gave up 1 run in 8 2/3 innings. What the hell are you doing here?
Yeah, Robertson came in and only allowed the 1 run, and that was because Buxton beat out a double play ball, which he'll do because he's lightning fast.
And he made a great catch out in center field.
But the moment that, yes, he did, but the moment that the Yankees tack on a couple, the 5-4 you can come back from, anybody in that ballpark can run into one.
That's true.
But
it's a joke of a ballpark, man.
7-4, that's it. That's all she wrote with that bullpen. You had to play from out front if you were Minnesota, and you had the opportunity to do so.
You did play from out front, yeah, and your starter went out there and threw up on himself. It's hurtful.
Well, that's one way of saying it.
That's
the cleaner way of saying it.
Yeah. Also, but the reason I'm praising Girardi is he pulls Severino in 29 pitches, and now you can pitch him in Game 2 of the LDS. I mean, not waiting around, understanding the sense of urgency, and not being afraid to. You know what he did? He basically did. When I'm looking at all the numbers with the bullpen. Last night I'm watching it, I thought of it too. He did what Buck Showalter wouldn't do a year ago at this time. And Buck lost the game for Baltimore.
Yeah.
And Joe, understanding leverage situations, it's not about what's going to happen in the 4th inning here. It's 3-0 now, and they got runners at second and third. If this gets to 5, I may be in big, big trouble, too much to overcome, and we don't have tomorrow. If it's a regular season game, Severino goes back out there, or he finishes the inning. Hell, he may just be out there to wear it for 5. But it's not.
No, but frankly, that's the way it should be managed in general for these one-offs, because the bullpen arms will be ready by Game 2. So, if you have to go with a short bullpen and you got Sonny Gray or whoever the hell they're going to start in LDS Game 1, he goes 7, come hell or high water, but at least I'm in a best-of-5 scenario here.
Yeah, no, I got it tomorrow to deal with.
Yeah.
So, tonight I'll be watching that game, too. Those are 2 really exciting teams, too. So, baseball did well by itself last night, for itself last night. Yankee Stadium may be garbage, dimensional, and it may be from a dimension standpoint, and it may be way too corporate compared to the old one, and even though it's designed to look exactly like the old one, which I did go to, it's laughable that every pop fly you think has a legitimate chance of going out. But the atmosphere there last night was what baseball lacks in the regular season, and why people can kind of feel that sort of, I'm going to ease off to sleep here. Not last night, man. That was college football. That was crazy.
That was, I think I've told you, the loudest I've ever heard a place get. Clemson might have trumped it in 2013.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
But the Aaron Boone home run back in 2003 in the 11th inning and Game 7 of the ALC, I was
pretty cool.
A baseball stadium could do that. And that's what I said yesterday. Those fans, They know when it's time, when it's winning time, they get loud, cool, they get rowdy for the right reasons, and it's cool to watch if you don't, if you're a Yankee fan, I guess, but whatever.
And I'm not. They drive me nuts, and I hope they lose in grand fashion, get swept in the series. It would be great, but they did come back last night, and you kind of got a sense after the 3-run bomb. You went, well, that's Minnesota. It couldn't happen.
I'm going to enjoy the hell out of Toronto, Winnipeg tonight. I'm not even kidding.
Our thanks to Proof Brewing Company for sponsoring What's on Tap. Proof Brewing Company since 2007, offering Tallahassee's finest craft beer selections at their massive tap room in Railroad Square Art Park. Canned deliciousness in stores near you. I hear music. Is that hockey music?
It is.
You want
I use
to
it
go
instead
out
of
to
Beat the
hockey
House
music?
tonight. Yeah.
Do you feel a little charge?
I do.
Feel a little tingle?
Even though the Bolts don't play till Friday.
Feel a little something inside?
Yeah, a little something. I mean, I get
not a lot of something because it's just Toronto, whatever.
Well, sure, but
we got multiple games, but it's the return of hockey. You're dropping the puck, baby.
Yeah, I watch opening weekend, and then I'll check in on a Tuesday night when there's nothing on. It's perfect. Hockey's usually a Tuesday, Thursday sport, but once we get into November, December, oh buddy, that's 20 games, 30 games. Now you know a little something about your team.
I think it's interesting that you're choosing to watch Toronto, Winnipeg instead of St. Louis, Pittsburgh.
Oh, God, no. I already know what Pittsburgh is, and St. Louis is boring. So give me an exciting team in Toronto.
Philadelphia, San Jose, late night? A little late night?
Maybe. I was up late last
10:30
night.
action. All right.
That game took forever.
Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Thanks for listening, everybody. Front Row Knowles up next. It should be great. Stay tuned.